What's up, people? It's your man Black Cobra back once again with the Wheel Life Show. Today, we are going to delve into some different stuff. A lot of times we focus on EUCs. Today, we are going to focus on the world of Onewheel because they are also in the world of PEV and they are also very present at the Wheel Life Rally. So, we are going to talk to none other than the humble savage himself, Kyle Robinson. So without further ado, let me bring that man in right now.
What up, everybody? Y'all know how I do. Great day to get us something new, something old. Whatever you're doing, get at it. Get at it with God, baby.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing today?
Yo, it's good to see you, my man. Yo,
It's
you
good to see
know,
you too, man. It's been a minute.
it has been a minute, yo. But I've been
Yeah.
watching what you've been doing, man. I see what you putting down, man. You you
You
posted a
trying,
couple
man. Trying.
nice runs recently. I was like, check this man out. And
Trying, man. Just kind of pushing the limits. You gotta, touch some limits a little bit. That way you know how far you can go. And then when the races come, it don't seem as crazy, at least.
yeah, and you are one of those people, that surprised me at the at the Wheel Life Rally. You on and the other guys on the one wheels, man, you guys had me like, whoa. And I know I talked to you about it before. I talked to Brian Lindy from One Stop Board Shop. He was talking to me. He tried to tell me, he was like, I'm telling you, man, those guys they can move. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm all about my EUCs, baby. I don't know about no one wheel. He's like, I'm telling you, if you check those guys in the racing league, they get down. You
Yeah,
guys
man. There's
came
a
up
great,
there.
great bunch of guys in the league, man.
Yeah. I didn't know you guys all rode like that, man. You guys were beasting out on those wheels, and I did not see it coming. Like, for real, man. Especially you. I think you surprised me the most because you're a big dude. Like I'm not like I always give the big guy review on EUCs because I weigh a lot.
Yeah, you know the struggle. You know what it's like. It's definitely a
Yo,
difference from machine to machine and power to weight ratio and all of that. Uh, it's definitely something that you have to finesse to get over. But again, with the great group of guys that I have from coming from riding the XR, when you started, then to the GT, now GTS, like chasing them on the wheel, honestly, is the main way that I was able to like figure it out and figure out how to get fast. It's like you kind of have to.
yo, that's a good point. Chasing other people will make you faster.
It will make you faster, like without a doubt.
Legitimately, because
Yeah.
the same thing happened to me. I felt like, I was like, I ride all right by yourself. You go on a certain speed, but when you with a pack and they all
It's
turn it up,
different.
you
It's
turn it
different.
up.
And and do you find that like when you're out by yourself and you're riding and you're trying to go fast, it's almost like you hit a wall. Like
Yep.
no matter what, no matter how hard you try to push past that
Hmm.
point, like you just can't go any faster. But then you get out with people and
Yep.
you're cooking past those speeds like with ease. And it's the weirdest thing. I mean,
And
as they
I
call it, the
can
flow
tell you
state.
what. I can tell you what it is. Self-preservation.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
self-preservation. Like
Yep.
you could turn that shit off when you're in a pack with other people and like you're trying to keep up because your ego gets in there, your confidence
Yeah.
builds, and you're like,
Yeah.
I can catch up. They don't have to leave me behind. I could catch up. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
when you by yourself, you ain't got nobody to push for. You like,
Yep. It's
ain't
like
no
I'm just
reason
out
to
here
go
by my.
faster.
And the other thing is the risk of being out there by yourself and getting hurt.
True.
So like many
Who
a
gonna
times
pick
it
me
might.
up?
Right, it might even just be divine intervention keeping me from being too foolish out here. Because yeah, there's times I'm in the woods and I'm just like, all right, let's go get some speed in, and like no matter what I do, it's like I can't go any faster than what I'm going right now. It's like this is all you got.
Yeah. Well, it's tough, but let me tell you. Speaking, of I just mentioned Brian Lindy because One Stop Board Shop, is a partner with Wheel Life Rally and like.
And they're a partner with Humbly Savage and Sar. They're the reason that I was even able to do anything here in Jersey and create anything. Um,
Yeah, Jersey
yeah, like.
boys, y'all Jersey boys,
Yeah, like I went to Brian and Brian had my back from the start, and to
Yeah.
the to this day, man. So like he's somebody I know I can depend on.
Well, since we talking about Brian, we might as well bring Brian in.
Oh,
Brian
he
from
around?
One
Where he
Stop
at? Where
Board
he at? Where you
Shop.
at? Where you at?
Yo, Brian in the
What up,
house.
doggy?
Brian, I was just talking about you when you was giving me all the shit about how good and fast one wheels are, and I ain't believe you.
Bro, it for a long time too. You were like you doubled and tripled down. You're like, nah.
Now, look, don't get me wrong, because I know my EUC people are in the chat. And speaking of that, we're going to get to the chat. And yes, shouts out to Seth. E-Ride Life, you were first. We saw you, brother. We saw you. First one in the chat. But I know my EUC people are going to be in the chat talking about, don't even try it. Now, I'm not saying one wheels are fast as EUCs. I'm sorry, they're just not there yet.
We're not.
And I know. I'm saying it not for you, but
I
for
dream to
their
have the Jeep.
benefit. Because I know that they hear me talking about how fast. And what I'm saying is, if you've seen the video clips that I've posted so far, the one wheels have blown out the water the preconceived notion we had of 15, 20 miles an hour. That's always what I saw a one wheel. I was like, that thing is like crawling. I can't ride that thing. Then I see you guys. Whoom, I'm like, wait. How are they going that fast? I'm like, I never seen a one wheel move that fast. And
It's a
you
different
guys
world,
were
man.
zipping. You guys were zipping through the woods, man. I watch that playback all the time, and I'm like, man, look how fast they're going. What's the fastest you've been on your EUC? Both of you. I mean, on your one wheels.
Which one?
Start-
This one?
We got
Yo.
the desk wheel.
I got my toys.
Hold up. You ain't alone. Hold on.
That's pretty rad.
Hold up.
That's funny. This one was a gift from Junior, my brand manager. Shout out, Junior.
Oh, nice.
And if you notice, these are the wheels that I had. This was my
wheel.
Yep.
That's 22. That was my wheel.
Sherman S. This was my master. Hold up, since we showing, hold up. This is the Commander Pro.
You have a lot.
Yeah,
You got them all.
And then this was the V13 when I was testing it out.
You spent more money on your minis than you did on your regulars.
No. The minis are full effect. You gotta have your minis, man. You gotta have your minis.
My daughter loves them.
Yeah, they those are cool. I like having them. But yeah, what's the fastest you've gone, Kyle? Did you say?
So fastest, I mean, all right. So we'll talk fastest before hitting Earth.
Nah,
So-
that doesn't count, Kyle. It doesn't
Okay,
count.
so fastest, including hitting Earth, I would say like 33.8. Then it nosedives at 34, and then you hit the ground at 35. But without hitting the ground, like I could say I've gone a solid like 32 without hitting the ground.
32.
I will tell you, Kyle is famous. When the GTS first came out, Kyle was like the one who pushed it to the entire one wheel community found out how fast you can go because Kyle showed us how fast you can't go.
Yeah, pretty much. How fast you can't go. Yeah.
All I can say is I'm glad that you are wearing gear, brother. Like I see you, I see your gear under the shirt. I'm like, I'm glad he's geared up because you and I, heavy fellas, when we fall, it's real.
Hard.
Like, there's a lot of meat.
They're getting older too. Like
Yes.
You don't bounce off the ground like we used to when we
Nope.
was 12 and 13, man.
Nope.
Like you feel it now, and it sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick. E-Ride Life shouts out to my man, Electric Unicycle, Dale, coming from down under. He already got crazy comments. Dale says, is cute how you treat one-wheel riders like real people. Yo,
we get the
Dale,
special treatment.
Dale, because he's EUC all day. Then he said, just playing. You can't say stuff like that, Dale, and try and wind it back. Once it's out, brother. It's out.
No offense, you're a piece of shit.
That's exactly what it's. Oh, just kidding. Yo, that's wild, man. Devo's in the house. What's up, Devo, brother? EUC Lucifer's in the house. Okay, so
Yeah, I'm
we got
laughing at
all this
Devo's
going
comment about
on.
the clavicle breaker.
We got all this going on, and
I,
there's a lot of comedy going on here. But comedy is a specialty of somebody else we know. And I wouldn't be right if I didn't bring in a little comic relief, the one and only Collin Chandler.
My
Wah, wah, wah,
man.
wah.
Yo,
What up,
Oh,
Collin,
how's it
dog?
going tonight?
what's up,
So,
nice
Collin?
of you to show
look, I
up.
want to jump right in. So I recently made this little tiny newspaper for the Float Life. They had it printed, and so it's just a tiny little newspaper that goes with all their orders. And the top story, the headline story, is about how somebody recently set a speed record on the one wheel, 54 miles per hour
On a one wheel?
on a one wheel.
Oh, I need to see that. I need to
So
see that.
let's just clarify. Let's just clarify. That's
Oh,
what I
here
was
we go. Here
before
we
we
go.
about Colin. I want to clarify. What Kyle is doing is on a future motion one wheel, right? That's programmed and manufactured by Future Motion Inc. in California. What we're talking about with these top speeds and what Electric Unicycle is saying, about the fastest one wheel rider being Stanley Shaw, what we're talking about there is VESC based one wheeling, right? That's not necessarily a one wheel because Future Motion trademarks all their stuff and one wheel is technically their thing. So I just want to be clear on that. The power output that you can push on some of these open source VESC boards, that's what we're talking about with speeds faster than what Kyle's doing over here. I just need to give my man Kyle his proper props that if you put him on a VESC, I'm sure he could blow some of these guys out of the water. I just need to make sure that we're not talking about 54 miles an hour and everyone goes, Kyle's slow. No. Kyle's the fastest rider on a Future Motion one wheel freaking out there. All right, just let's make sure we're clear on that, guys.
Very, very good. Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that. But one thing, Electric Unicycle, I think, was saying that was the fastest guy in Australia. I don't think he was saying he was the fastest guy. He was just saying.
Oh, maybe.
There.
I just wanted to clarify, especially with Kyle. So.
I knew Brian was gonna bring that up too. I was like, oh, here comes the FM Vesk.
I love them both personally.
Oh, me too.
I have one
don't
of each.
get it
I
twisted.
love them both.
If it's got a wheel on it and some rails, I'm gonna ride it. Like,
oh, what's
so
up,
another thing we were
Greenmaster
talking
Mike?
about is how Kyle loves ORL. He was thinking about going to Race the Rail this year. One thing I wanted to mention about Wheel Life Rally is we're actually going to be part of ORL this year. So
That's right.
anyone that participates and rides one wheel, or it has to be a Future Motion board. Other boards are welcome, but if you ride a Future Motion board, you will be earning points for ORL, and you can actually get to the very top of the leaderboard because Wheel Life Rally will be the first event of the 2026 season.
Yes.
okay,
Now
so
we
that's
we were gonna talk about that. Colin jumped the gun, but we'll bring it in now. Yes,
look, man,
we
the excitement.
He always does that though. You got to know that's coming.
He always does that. Yeah, he can't hold it. Look, Colin, I have a whole list. We were going along, and you just jumped way down the list. But okay. So
hey guys, let's do Wheel Life Rally tomorrow. Let's do it.
so Kyle was talking. We were talking about One Wheel Racing League, and for those that are EUC based that don't know what that is. Why don't you give either Kyle or Brian? Why don't you give a rundown of what exactly One Wheel Racing League is?
No, I'm gonna leave that all to Mr. Jump the Gun over here.
Okay, Colin, I guess it's back to you. What is One Wheel Racing League?
So honestly, One Wheel Racing League is awesome. It's a collection of one wheel events. You've got stuff like Oak City Shred Fest, this is the Oak City Shred Fest jersey from this year.
Should be wearing
And
one wheel. Just saying, just should be wearing Wheel Life
Wheel
Rally.
Life Rally, yes, but they are one of our sponsors because the champion of Wheel Life Rally gets to go to Oak City. Michael Turpak was the winner of this year's Wheel Life Rally, and he got a free ticket to Oak City Shredfest. So I thought
Shouts
that was
out to
really awesome.
Turpak.
Yeah, what up, doggy?
Okay.
So you've got Float Life Fest, you've got let's see, Wheel Scorcher, Seek and Shred, Dirt Surfers, all these different events. You earn points throughout your season, and the top people get to go to the championship race for the rail in California, and they compete for a $10,000 prize. And I think that's pretty cool. It's run
Now, the
by
reason why this,
And
Beach
the
Motion.
I'm
exciting
just
part
gonna,
about this year is they're spinning it a little different. You can show up and run a qualifier to be able to qualify for Race for the Rail. So I think, don't mark me as this as word, but from what I kind of remember, it's like the top 8 based off points throughout the season, and then I think another 8 from when they show up and run qualifier. Again, don't hold me solid to numbers, but that's kind of the scheme of what they're doing. And then I think they're going to run the 16 down the mountain.
Okay. Okay. So what I like about the One Wheel Racing League is their organization. I like the fact that it's multiple events and your points count across these various events. And I'm hoping that we get that way with EUCs at some point in the future going forward. It's taken us a long time to get multiple racing events even happening. So now that we have TEF1, now that we have, Wheel Life Rally, now that we have, all these different events that are going on, some of the one wheel events even are including EUCs as racers too. So now we're getting to the point where we can allow or we can organize, some sort of EUC racing league, and I'm hoping that we are able to do that sometime within the next year. So the more events, that thing that would stop us, I think, right now is that at some of these events they do like a demo race, or it's not, they don't count it as a real race, and they have to make sure that they do make sure that the EUC race is not just a demo race to show you EUCs. It's an actual race part of the event. If we can get that in multiple events, then we can include that, because I want one wheels and EUCs to be at all these events, and so that we can all get some of this, because our community is our community. One wheel riders are just as crazy as EUC riders, and EUC riders are just as crazy as one wheel riders. We're all the same group. We just need to include each other in all these things that we're doing and become more of a partnership and less adversarial kind of us and them kind of thing. So we're getting there. We're getting there. It's just, takes a little time.
And I feel
now
like
the
with
other thing I want
EUCs,
to
it
say
should
to
be
touch on
doable.
what Colin said, about the reason why the event is so important for Wheel Life Rally is because it's not like the fact that Wheel Life Rally exists means we're an ORL. There are lots of events that happen throughout the year for one wheels that are not part of ORL. We used to be one of those. So the fact that we're now in ORL is a big deal, because that means that we were, we made the cut, right, guys?
Yep.
I mean, ORL specifically curated racing for, a big cash prize. Like, it's an investment on Future Motion's behalf. Like, they put in money towards this. So the fact that Wheel Life Rally is now actually counting points against that is a big deal, because it means that we beat out some other events that aren't doing that. And for, for an event that's as, small as we are, let's call it.
Yeah.
That's,
growing.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like the fact that they looked at our partnerships and see what we got going on, and they asked some questions and checked on some things, and they're like, all right, you're in. And I like it because one thing that came out of this was the timing system. We had to upgrade, so now we'll be using the same timing system as everybody else, and that was one of the things that they said you had to do in order to be included in the One Wheel Racing League. So I'm happy to say that we're doing that as well. So I like it. I really, really like it. So anyway,
one thing
go ahead.
on the marriage of EUC and One Wheel. Oak City Shredfest 100% treats the EUC races as part of it. I'm sure they could do better in some aspects, but couldn't we all?
Yeah.
But I believe, I'm 99% sure, said that the Wheel Life Rally EUC champion would also get a ticket to Wheel Life Rally this year.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So
So
these are things
keeping
that,
that.
yeah, these partnerships are what we need. And
Mhm.
it's getting better, and I'm happy about it, because you guys know, I've been toiling at this for six. This will be our 6th year, and this is the most traction we've had so far, and the event is being seen by more people and attended by more. So someone just reached out to me from Canada, who the girl who just lives in her van, and she's like, I really want to come. I want to volunteer. I want to be part of the volunteer team. I said, sure, come on down. And so we got a nice parking spot for your van right here, and we will put you to work. So we got plenty to do. So
We
I
do
like
need
that.
volunteers.
We need a volunteer team. So other people that want to come on down and you want to get involved, let us know, because this is the important time right now, because we're going to need a team to help set up. We'll be setting up on the 15th, and by then Rick will probably have a lot laid out, but he'll be like, put stakes there, put stakes there, like he's like,
Yep.
bang those in, run that. So Rick from the Wick, by the way, that's the Wick 338, which is the famous dirt bike track that we're racing at, and it's world famous. People come from all over to race on it. I forgot. I was looking through photos, and it reminded me that there was one of the New England Patriots football players, and I can't even recall his name right now. He was riding there the first year we did it, and he almost came back to ride in the rally, but he said he had to leave. He said, no, I can't. I can't. I want to, because he wanted to try in EUC because he was riding the dirt bike at the track. The track is that famous. That's my point. It's world renowned, and they take
So nice.
so much care and giving us so much space, allow us to run 3 different tracks through the woods, in the parking lot, down through the tunnel. There's just so many things that you have never ridden a track or any track like what we have at Wheel Life Rally. So if you're a one-wheel rider trying to get it in, you got to be there. If you're an EUC rider trying to get it in, you got to be there. So
what I'm really excited about this year is the plan to go with, Rick's tight scheduling, follow his lead. And, we're going to be doing all the races on one day and just killing us, killing all of our racers, basically, putting them through the ringer, go from one race to the next, to the next, to the next.
And speaking of that, in case you guys are wondering what we're planning, we are planning EUC race, one-wheel race, EUC race, one-wheel race, EUC race. We are going to alternate, so you have time to switch back and forth. There are some people who actually ride
Charge
both.
time. Charge time. That's going to be the key thing for the one wheel.
Yep, to keep it juiced.
You might want to bring 2.
Yeah, that would work too.
I'm just saying, not everybody has 2.
No,
So
you're right.
You guys still got to think about those people who need to charge.
Well, if you don't have 2, you just take one of Collin's.
Yeah, that's what Brian did. Hopefully, I won't have a broken wrist this year.
Yeah. Hopefully, if you don't go out and do something. Well, anyway. So we also will have the one backwards racing. We'll have chair racing. We'll have drag racing. We'll have jousting. We'll have 2x2 square balancing, which you guys saw me post not that long ago, when we ended up having the Ukraine battle in Canada for the last 2 spots. And it was such a great battle, watching those guys balancing those squares. We're going to do that again. All those games will be sprinkled in between. So I guess that'll help, Kyle. That'll help people get their charge in. So maybe we'll do an EUC race or a one-wheel race first. We'll start with you guys, then do the EUC.
Oh, yeah, always start one wheel.
Yeah, and then do a mini game. Give you guys a chance, like for EUCs, give you guys a chance to charge, or we'll wait till after the second race. However, but we're going to work on that timing and scheduling. But the point is, it's going to be tight. It's going to be fun. It's going to be nonstop, and it's something you guys don't want to miss. I'm getting excited just thinking about those tracks that you guys are gonna,
Yeah,
get to
man.
run.
It's just wide. It's it's so wide open. It's a place where you can truly get to utilize the power of the board and really ride and race against people the way that you really wanted to ride and race against people. Like it's fire.
Yeah, I
It's fire.
remember one stretch where you, Turpak, um, who else was it?
Oh, the finish, the
Varner.
with Sam.
Varner,
Varner.
and then behind you guys was Cold Crush,
Oh, yeah.
um, and I forgot who else, but you four zipping through the woods, and I got the shot of you guys coming flying out the woods. I was like, man,
Oh, I was
it's
thinking of the photo finish they got going up the hill because I got that the previous year and then they
yeah,
got it the next year.
yeah.
My
I
favorite was Turpak missing the finish.
That's what I was just about to say.
He's not here to defend himself, so we got to leave that be. But he
Yo,
won, and then he didn't win.
Mikey Turpak with the bonehead move of the race.
Go
We-
through here.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
went on
he-
like the outside of the flag or something like that versus
Yeah.
going through the middle. So then
He
he had to
went
go
through
back.
like the little narrow spot
Yeah.
instead of the big
Right.
wide open,
Yeah.
But it was his line. He
Yeah.
was coming
Yeah.
as he was coming down and coming around. His line was out wide, and instead of bringing it in, he just rode it out. He's like, "I'll just go around the pole." So you're gonna go outside of the finish line?
And he didn't realize until you told him, no.
He's like, "What? What?"
He was so mad.
He was. And just to tell you, the finish line had checkered flags on each side. It was clearly marked. It was just he just went around it. Oh man. Okay, so
I saw a comment here that says Amped Electric Games gave a ticket to Ian Budgell for his win last year as well. That was awesome.
Yes. And
Shout out to
that's
Amped
E-Ride
Electric
Life.
Games.
Yep,
John.
that's Seth reminding us. Thank you, Seth. Amped Electric Games did give a ticket to Ian Budgell for the win because Amped Electric Games is another partner with us, and Seth is always not just partner, but Seth, he jumps in and helps out. Seth is like my man. He is a trooper. If you guys don't know Seth Johnson, been under a rock somewhere or something, but he's under E-Ride Life right here in the chat. But he is Amped Electric Games creator, founder, and leader, and he has done a great deal for EUCs and Onewheels because he has been to so many events, and he's gone to Onewheel events where they didn't even have EUCs racing, and he was still there. So shouts out to him again. And thanks again for the support, Seth. I appreciate you, brother. I know I couldn't do anything I'm doing without you. And I'm excited not just for Wheel Life Rally, but I'm also excited for us going to Malaysia this year for the EUC race. Is going to be crazy. So anyway,
One thing I want to
killed it
also
on
say
Pride.
about both of you guys that I absolutely love is that Seth and you, Cobra, you guys are EUC guys, right? You don't mix and you don't ride anything else. You guys ride EUCs. That's your thing. And yet you're so inclusive of everyone else. Maybe not in the beginning, Cobra.
I just didn't know what to do. I didn't have anybody to help me in the beginning.
Yeah. But you guys are you and me. You guys are so inclusive of all PEVs, and that's I love the fact that you guys are trying to embrace areas outside of where you guys are going, and and that's a really cool thing. So I want to give credit to both of you guys for that.
Thank you.
Because you guys have gone out of your comfort zone to make Wheel Life Rally and Amped and all associations more than just EUC events, and they have become more than just EUC events.
So Onewheel Haran.
Yeah, he's got
my
fighting
dog.
words. That's John.
I seen him.
Yeah, he says, "Let's go." They were lucky my board was bricked.
But his
At the
board's always
Savage
bricked.
Racing League.
Look, he gotta get out there this year, man. I don't want to hear no excuses, baby. Let's go.
That sounds like you need to buy another board so you can have a backup. I'm just saying.
He's just
If if you ain't ready, you ain't racing.
But that's my rabbit, though. So when I was telling you before about chasing people,
Yep.
That's where it started. Like on the XR, it would be him out front, Turpac, and then me chasing the both of them. So like that's my rap. Like don't get it twisted. John can ride his ass off. Like
Yeah.
don't get it twisted. Like
Hey, I
he
believe you.
got it.
I
Yeah.
believe you. So,
Yeah, John's contender.
Steph One Wheel, my man, what's up? He's got a dope Sherman L. I've been looking at. I like what you've been putting up, man. He says this sounds like fun and something I'd be interested in participating in. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you
Come
like I
out,
tell
bro.
everybody. It's not just think. I know this is fun and it's
No, it's
something
a
you would
blast.
love to be a part of. So if I were you, I would go to wheelliferally.com right now and check it out. And in case you're not sure, let me pull it up behind you. This is right here, wheelliferally.com. Oh, actually, let me put us over here out the way. Let me see like that. Go to wheelliferally.com and you can check out what the place looks like, what the event looks like. You can see everybody here jumping around. Mikey Turpac there jumping in the air. Um, Varner there, and you can see that we have there's a lot going on. There's a video page, so you can see some of the videos, and obviously you can go to my YouTube and to the Wheel Life Rally YouTube channel, to the Wheel Life Rally Instagram page and TikTok page, and check out the videos. There's gonna be more popping up every day, so check it out, man. If you're interested in going, get more info and get in. Don't miss it, because if you think now and then don't do anything about it, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna miss it and go, ah, shit, that happened. Damn, I meant to go. I can tell you that because I've done that several times with several events. I'm like, I want to go. I'm gonna go to that, and then I don't do anything right away, and I miss it. So don't miss it.
And from
Let's
me,
see.
this is a plea to my big boys out there, okay? Like we said earlier, we are now part of ORL. So we're
Mm-hmm.
going to have all the classes. So
Mm-hmm.
please, if you are 215 and up, come out to Wheel Life Rally and ride.
Mm-hmm.
Come ride. It's the Northeast event. So I want to see anybody from, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Vermont, all of those states. If you weigh 215 and up, I want to see you at Wheel Life Rally.
Challenge. That sounds like a challenge.
Let's not leave out our DC area folks, man.
Oh no,
That's a
they
big
they
group.
know about it already. Only reason I'm shouting out up there is just because that's that New
Ah,
England area. Like,
Mm-hmm.
come out. Like it's what is it, a 6 hour drive for us? So for y'all, it's only
for
three
us, no, it's
hours.
3 hours.
Is it three? I don't know.
It's
Look,
three
I'm
and a half
bad at
hours.
3.5.
Well,
Well, you're a
you're
little more north
about
than
4
me.
from
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So, but regardless, it ain't that far. Come out, right? And you're gonna have a blast. Like it really is a great, great event. Just like the vibe, the energy, the track, and the spectators, like the viewing. Like you can literally see the entire racetrack from the middle of the part. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
stand in one spot and watch the entire race go around you if you want. Like it's literally amazing. Like
Yeah. It
the
really
woods
is.
track, you can stand off on the edge and watch everybody run out through the woods and then come rip by in front of you, and like it's perfect.
Yo, I'm telling you. And the first year I did it, I was like, what is this place? Like, how does this exist right here and everyone's not riding here? Like, it's like
Mhm.
I was
Rick is an
drooling.
absolute wizard.
Yes. Yeah. Rick from the
That's what I
Wick.
was gonna say, Rick.
Rick is in his 70s, and Rick has been making tracks most his life. And I get there, and Rick's like, "All right, this is what we're gonna do," and he starts showing me stuff, and he's like, "What do you think? You want to change anything? What do you think?" And I'm like, "Looks good, Rick." He like he comes up with these diabolical tracks, trying to. I'm like, "Well, you want us to go where?" He's like, "Yeah." So then you cut through here. Okay, go around that tree, come back around. I'm like, "Okay, sure."
The craziest part is so many of these other events are preparing for weeks or months on end, preparing their tracks and their qualifiers. And Rick does everything like the day
7 minutes
before.
beforehand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Well, like if he has time, he'll do it like 2 days beforehand. But usually it's the day before. He's out there like, all right, I'll grab the bulldozer. all right, they can go here, they can go here, and then I'm like, all right. I call him the mad genius. He really does like come up with some tracks. He's like, they're gonna hate me this year.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
He apologized last year.
He did. He did.
He was like, "I'm sorry in advance, everyone."
Yeah, he really does. Like, you know, he's like, oh, and he gets this little smirk. He's like, yeah, they're not gonna be happy with me this year. And I was like, all right. I said, all right, Rick, show me what you got. Like,
But to his credit, Kyle said something to me last year, which was Kyle's first year at Wheel Life Rally. He said something to me at the end of the day last year, where I don't know if you remember this. He said, "Brian, this is what one wheel racing should be."
Yeah.
I remember it. I talk about it all the time. You know, that was
Well,
I remember you came up to me and I was like, "What'd you think?" And you're like, "Brian, this is what one wheel racing should be."
what's so funny is Kyle said the same thing to me. He's like, dude, he hit me up like right after the rally last year. He's like, yo, when's the date? Like, tell me when the date is for next year. He's like, because that's how one wheel's supposed to be raced. This is the way these tracks are what we look for all the time. And I'm like, yeah, man.
What the fuck, Kyle? How come you didn't say that to me? I didn't get any.
All right, I am going to find you and hold your hand, and we're going to go over the finish line together, hand in hand, and I'm going to tell you.
Hand in hand,
Look
be
into your
dragging behind you.
look into your eyes.
That sounds magical. Thank you.
Look, I'll see you there, doggy, counting the days.
Yo, Greenmaster Mike, he said EUCs, scooters, one wheels, e-bikes, and soon these flying PEVs. We are all one family and are all in the same boat when it came to the laws and regulations. So you just catapulted us to another topic that I was gonna bring up in a little while. Laws and regulations. Things are changing all over the world, and I keep getting in my inbox. I keep getting people sending me things. Hey, Cobra, did you see this? And I'm like, I try not to get political. I try not to get into all kinds of crazy stuff. But just a quick minute about this kind of stuff. Legalization, making it illegal, banning, all that kind of stuff. Give me your thoughts on these kind of things. You know, Kyle, what do you got on this kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, you know me, I want it all to be legal, but I feel like it's just, you know, people are afraid of the unknown a lot of times, and a lot of the issues, at least from my experience and like talking to people like here in Jersey, it's almost regional, like depending on where you're at and who's around and what they think of what's going, like, depends on how it's received. You know, like here, kind of Central Jersey, South Jersey, like the mountain bike guys love us. We've actually got something in the works with Sorrel. I'm building a little team. We're going to try to do some things for next year. So keep that under wraps for now. But like with the mountain bike guys, because they love us so much, they're giving us like kind of like an opportunity with them. But you go up North Jersey, I hear people up in like Sussex County, and they're talking about getting kicked out of parks and this, that, and the third. And it's just, it sucks just because it is so, there's no like true jurisdiction put on anything yet as far as like rulings and regulations. Because you go in one park and it says no electric bikes, you go in another park and it's fine. Like,
yeah.
That's not inherently correct. If I can jump in here,
I'm just basing off experience, nothing based off facts.
Yeah. So there are rulings, and they're different based on state and county, and the rulings are all about enforcement. So there are certain like for instance, Jersey City, you know, has copied New York City, which basically ban everything, but it's a matter of enforcement because certain, you know, Jersey City operates under DBAD. Don't be a dick. If you ride like an asshole, they're gonna come after you. But if you ride cool, they're not gonna, like, they don't really care about it, right? You know, laws notwithstanding, just don't be a jerk about it. I live in a county where they don't even understand what these things are, much less have any legislation on them. It's mountains and country where I live, and you've got they're gaining in popularity. You got kids on e-bikes, doing things, and I see all the Facebook attorneys all the time talking about like, oh, these kids don't know what they're doing, and oh, those aren't legal. I'm like, that's a class 2 versus an e-dirt bike versus this. Like they have different laws. Like Surons are actually sold illegally by most companies in the US. They're VIN registerable. They're they have to be sold by a dealership in order to be street legal, and they have to be insured because they have no pedals because of this and that and the other thing, depending on the state. So there's states that are way more lenient, there are states that are way more strict. Yeah, I just wanted to clear up that there are laws about these things in place. The problem is a lot of enforcers, cops don't know what they are. So they don't,
true.
Like there's a trail by me that says no motorized vehicles. I've gotten pulled over and I've shown them this is not, I'm on a Onewheel. This is not a motorized vehicle. I show them the legislation. They go, my bad. Can I try? Like they're cool about it, right? Like, as long as you don't, if you don't push you get aggressive and you start to be an asshole to the enforcers. It doesn't matter what the laws are. You can fight it in court, but that's your place to fight it, is in court. You don't want to get there. It doesn't matter what the laws are. Just ride not like a jerk,
Yeah. That's the other thing. And you guys hear me say it all the time. We are good wheel ambassadors. We have to be on our best behavior when we're out there, because we're not just representing ourselves, we're representing everyone that rides a PEV. So when you go out there and you get stopped and you're acting like a dick because, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and you start acting like that, he might be wrong, because I was a cop for 30 years. I wasn't up on the regulations for all different kinds of things. And if you roll up on something that looks weird and different, and I don't know the regulations on every vehicle. I ain't got time to read that. So if I'm not sure, though, I can damn sure tow your vehicle, and then you have to prove to me and come get it later. And if you're being a dick, I'm going to tow your vehicle and make you come get it later. So that's why I say don't do that. There's no reason to try and, because and a lot of times, why do we do it? Because we're on camera. Because we have our 360 camera rolling. We have our GoPro rolling, and we're like, oh, I'm gonna make this cop look like an idiot, and I'm gonna post it on YouTube, and I'm gonna get 1 million likes. Oh, okay. I'm like, if that's the way your world works, and that makes you happy, go for it. But I don't think that's the way to live, period. Because all we're trying to do is live our best life, and why not be positive? I know you guys know I'm a positive guy. I'm always laughing. I'm always having a good time. But that's because there's enough negative in this world. We don't need to bring any more in. We need to. So
that's where I'm going to interject. So I think that they should 100% be banned, because I love the thrill.
Colin, I lost you. Hold on, Colin.
Where's your ejectocito button, Cobra?
Right, I lost you, Colin. What happened? Hold on.
It's like when they legalize weed, it's not as exciting anymore to do it. I mean, I still do it, but it's Lord. Where's the thrill? So if they ban them, it's like, you're doing something a little naughty. Cop might have to give you a little spanking.
Oh boy! Hold up! We got Sensei Vegan in the house.
What up, Sensei?
What's going on? And of course, it's showtime.
Showtime.
What's up, Ashley?
Let's go. Ricardo Medford. What's up, Ricardo? He's in here too. What's going on, everybody? Glad to see you guys jumping in. So, yeah, despite what Colin said, the nonsense he's just spewed, I think it is definitely a great thing that, well, let's put it this way. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing when incidents happen, because incidents that happen with us on this just mean it's pushing the needle forward. At some point, they're going to have to figure out what they're gonna do with us. And I'm okay with that. If they tell us, hey, you need to register that, we made a new class for that vehicle, and now it's covered under blah 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 blah. I don't care what you do it. I'm just tired of meeting all these freaking idiots on out and about that are like, oh, you can't do that and you can't ride. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, leave me
Karen.
alone. Get out of my way. Because I did have, I was riding with Mike Mack. Shouts out to Mike Mack. What's up, man? So we were riding, and this guy, he jumped in front of us on a trail. We're on a bike trail. He jumps out in front of us. We almost didn't stop in time. And I said we could have went the opposite route and just sped the fuck up, and ran his ass over. But he was clearly like 65, 70, whatever. And he was like, you can't ride those here. We've been having trouble with people on this. I said, okay, first of all, calm down. Second of all, you haven't been having any trouble with any of us. You see how we stopped and we're talking to you politely? You didn't have any trouble with any of us. You may have had trouble with other. Well, these dirt bikes, right? I said, do we look like dirt bikes? And do we look like we, So we went into this whole back and forth. And by the time we were done, I spun his head around and he's like, you know what? You have a happy Thanksgiving. It's good to see you guys out here. You have a great day. He was shaking my hand. He damn near gave me a hug, but I had to give some verbal judo and, put it on him and let him know that you can't just treat us like shit because you've seen other people doing dumb stuff.
It's wonderful that you did that, but you shouldn't have had to do that. That's
Exactly.
the problem.
Right.
And that's
You're right.
the problem with our community as a whole, of all PEV riders. There are a select few who take this I do what I want approach, and you go out there and be an asshole. And riding through malls or cutting off, blowing through red lights. And then it ruins it for the rest of us that don't want to deal with that and try to respect not just rules, but the fact that we're not the only ones out there. And it makes it so that we now have to play all right, well, I got to calm him down from what the last guy did.
Yeah.
Bothers me.
Yeah. Green Master Mike said, hey,
I know, I've seen that.
Over, come on, don't snap on Karens.
No, that's a Kevin. Dude on a bike, right? It's a Kevin.
Yeah. It's funny because like there was even like, because it was before Thanksgiving, and he was like, oh, we actually have a Thanksgiving celebration out here. You guys should come. I was like, hold up. You went from telling us to get the hell out of here, damn near tackling me off my wheel. And now all of a sudden we're invited to the Thanksgiving celebration. I was like, all right, thanks, man. Appreciate you. But like you said, we shouldn't have to do that. But also we still shouldn't be acting like assholes, no matter what. There's enough of those.
The only thing is, you didn't mention that you showed him your badge, and you were like,
I did not. I actually did not. He was like,
please, officer, no, please, you can come to our Thanksgiving.
The only time I did mention that I was a cop after he said he was gonna call his friend that was a cop. He said, my buddy works for the PD, and I'm going to get him down here. And I said, well, that'd be nice. What's his name? I'll give him a call. Would you like me to? he said, well, I said, no, that's fine. I'm a lieutenant in the Springfield PD. I can give him a call and talk to him about the regulations that they have on this. Well, I'm just saying, and then he's like, well, look, it's almost Thanksgiving, and, we give thanks out here. We talk to all our veterans, and we got veterans out here that ride. I said, well, I got that covered too, if you'd like. I mean, I'm a veteran. I've been in the military for 20 years. And he's like, whoa,
holy shit.
Where'd you serve? I was like, this is why you don't judge a book by its cover. This is why you don't come at somebody full speed without knowing anything. You approach somebody in a respectful manner and have a conversation. This guy came at us. I swear to God, I was like, is he going to tackle me? That's how aggressive he came at us. But
I was joking about you showing him the badge, but apparently it was related to the fact that you brought up being a cop. That calmed him right down.
Well, I had no choice. When he was, because he took his phone out. I mean, literally took his phone. He's like, because my buddy's on the PD. I'm going to call him. And I said, go ahead. Would you like me? I can call him, or I can talk to him. If you want to call him, I'll talk to him. He's like, oh, well. I'm like,
this is my favorite, though.
Like, did you get my best side? Like, good for you.
When they have to hit the record with the index finger.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Um. Oh, okay. I can hear that. Yeah. So there's a lot going on in our community, and I appreciate these kind of conversations because people can play them back later, and I hope they have an effect. Because I've had several people reach out to me and say that they've had, either they've had incidents happen or they've seen incidents happen, and somebody got their wheel taken, and somebody got, and I'm like, yep. I'm not saying it ain't gonna happen because right now we're not covered. We don't in like most states, either there's nothing, or it's ambiguous, or we're just banned. There are some places that lump us in with, e-bikes are banned and so are any electric vehicles. Okay, well, we're fucked. So there's not much you can do when they figure out how to lump us in. I don't want them to do that. And if they do, that's fine. Then give us all a classification. And if you want to learn about what we're riding, we will come teach you and show you. And then go ahead and put us in a class, and whatever kind of registration you want to charge us, we're ready. But just allow us to be on the road so that people can't mess with us. Because then we got Sensei Vegan over here throwing people in headlocks and shit because he had an incident with some dude, and then we had Tarzan had an incident on the street, same thing, dude flipping out, and Tarzan had to knock dude out. I'm like, so we don't want to do that, but we will. Okay, so Kyle,
Yes, sir.
back to you, because there were some questions we didn't get to because we fast forwarded ahead, but somebody fast forwarded us. Anyway, how long have you been riding, man?
Oh man. Let's see, 1, 2. What's it? 3 years at this point? Well, hold on.
Just a
4
little
years.
over 3.
Yeah, a little over 3. I thought so. Like almost 4. I think October will be 4.
Okay. How many boards do you own?
4. Two GTSs. I still got the old trusty CBXR, the XR, and then another little monster that's getting built.
So, how many boards do you have working right now?
3.
Yeah.
Two GTSs and a CBXR.
And you answered this earlier. Would you say the fastest you went was
32.
30,
Like 32,
30?
33 without hitting the ground.
Okay. We're gonna call it 32 because I think at 33 you were on the way.
Yeah.
that was speed. That was slam speed.
Yeah.
What's the farthest you've ever ridden your one wheel?
So being heavier, it's not really like you don't really get long rides, and especially like the way we rip the trails. Like honestly, on the GTS, depending on the trail, the max mileage I've seen it might be like 9 miles.
Yeah,
And
see,
so-
that's
and-
what I wanted to get to,
Yeah.
because I know, like I said, you're a heavy dude like me, and you can only do so much, right? And
Yeah.
that's another reason why I like the EUCs, because we can go so far.
That's the main thing that attracts
Yeah.
me to it. Honestly, is like I'd love one for like that adventure wheel.
Yep.
Checking out new trails that you haven't taken a one wheel on yet, so you don't know if it's one wheelable yet, but you
Yep.
can definitely ride an EUC over everything.
X-Way.
And then you've got-
X-Way
Stop trying to
would work
poach
for
our
him.
guy.
Look, I've already talked to him. I'm teaching him at the rally. Sorry. But he's going to ride both. Obviously, he has so much love for one
yeah.
wheel. He ain't going nowhere. But, Sensei Vegan said, I only choked him for a few seconds.
That's all it takes.
Hey,
That's all
some-
it takes.
Hey, sometimes you got to choke a motherfucker.
You ain't lying.
Hey, sometimes it be like that. I love that because I laugh and joke so much. I love laughter. Laughter is like really the way life is meant to be led, as far as I'm concerned. But I do have the other side, and then when I have to knock somebody out, I'm like, I'll turn off the laughter for just long enough to show you what Black Cobra is all about. And then they go, oh, he didn't give himself that name. Nope. He was dubbed that name, knocking people out. Um, so yeah, we have a whole lot of riding to do. So Ashley called us battery killers. Why you messing with us big folks? Just because you don't weigh nothing, don't be messing with us big folks.
Like I'd be envious of them sometimes. The mileage they can get, especially on a one wheel, from the same trail where I get like 6 miles, we get back to the car, and other people are still on like 60-some%. And it's just like, what?
Yeah, my GTS goes closer to like 12 miles
Doesn't it?
on a trail. Yeah.
My vest board, on a trail, I could probably get about 20 miles on a trail on my vest board.
Yeah, 20.
That's the XR platform one.
Yeah, my vest.
He got a battery in that though.
I got 84 volt controller and a meat pack.
Yeah, you need something.
Those are
more
18650s, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, you need something like that because it's crazy. So Ricardo doesn't know anything about one wheels. He's like, I guess you can't get a big battery in a one wheel, so you won't get the range.
You
And you
can
get split packs?
nothing is going to get you EUC range. It just doesn't exist. There's just not enough room in the platform. But you can get I think the biggest battery they make right now probably gets you about 40 miles.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't recommend that battery, but that's the biggest one they make.
He's like, it's not the greatest battery. It just gets you the most range.
Yeah, you should not pack that many cells into that small an area.
Fire.
Kyle, are you building yourself like any vest like race board, like a
That's my little monster.
30S?
Look, when y'all get into that battery talk shit, I don't be knowing a damn thing. Okay,
I'll talk to Kyle and I'll revert back to you, Kyle.
Them numbers.
I'll see what he's got going on.
All I know is it's 124 volts of magic.
Okay, 124 volts. So I think that's
the Mario magic.
So he's getting the new battery from Mario then. Mario Contino, theboardgarage.com.
Yeah.
That's anyone who wants a one wheel vest based
battery.
platform battery.
That's the
Theboardgarage.com. Mario Contino is the way to go. Queens, New York.
If you're a big,
Good friend of mine.
and if you're big too, and you're gonna be banging down on that battery pack, jumping off his shit, that's the battery you want.
Yep.
Did you go with the P50Bs or the P45Bs?
I don't remember.
He just said he doesn't know.
And then Collin jumps
It's an
in.
important distinction.
My homie G, he hooked me up. Like we got to talking because he builds vests and shit. And I told him, I was like, whatever you think I should have under my feet is what I'm gonna get. I'm like, so you tell me what to get. And he's like, oh, these sells it. I'm like, look, that's all good and dandy. Just get me what I need. And he did.
Well, was it 1,000 or 1,100?
For
Colin's
everything?
gonna take over your entire podcast.
I don't know what he.
Battery.
Hey, okay, Collin, what are you doing?
Sorry. Yeah.
No,
My
what
bad.
are you doing in front of you that's lighting you up? Whatever you're doing, are you looking at your computer?
He's on the Board Garage's website. I don't even need to look. I know what he's doing.
Okay, whatever.
That's
look,
exactly
look. No, put up whatever light you had on. Yeah, leave that on the screen because we can finally see you.
Good.
Not that we want to see you, but we can finally see you because you look like you're in a dark room somewhere growing mushrooms and shit. So.
All right.
I'm like,
we don't care what's on the screen. Just leave it up.
Just leave it up. I'm like, good Lord,
Yeah.
I told you you need a light. It's getting darker and
I know,
darker.
I did that last year. Last time. I had
so,
to set up a little lamp here.
So real quick, I want to give away something real quick. So if you guys see, I'm wearing the new jersey, just in case you guys didn't know. This is the jersey this year. It's got white in it, so it makes it pop a little bit more. Even down the bottom, it's got some white in it, so I like the new jersey. Even though the guy, he screwed up my name on the back, so he owes me another one. Now it's my turn, Brian. To do.
Oh, all right. So now it's two.
Yeah, Brian last year got one that said Brain instead of Brian. And he just now got a new one. But that was coming from Pakistan. This is right in Connecticut. We got the guy. And I may have a different guy who's going to even do it for us in here in Mass, so it might be even quicker. So anyway, if you guys want jerseys with your name and number on them, order them on the website wheelliferally.com. You can go ahead and buy that now too, and then I can put the order in. And they're looking for orders now, so if you want a jersey with your name and number on it, order it as soon as possible. It'll be then we can put an order. Excuse me, an order in and get them all back. Now, what
What up,
Brian
Seer
is
J?
wearing. What up? What'd you say, man?
I'm saying, what up, Seer J? I just seen
Oh,
you
oh,
in the
so
I was
chat.
just I, I was
Call
just
me.
gonna say, Sir Jay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see him in there. What's up, man? Check you out. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So,
Hopefully he's coming.
yeah. So Brian is wearing the Wheel Life Rally T-shirt. So I'm gonna give away a T-shirt real quick. So anybody in the chat right now, it says there's 20 of you in the chat. So give me a number between 1 and 20 in the chat. Give me a number between 1 and 20. Well, actually, I say 1 and 20, but there's Seth. He's obviously has a jersey. There's One Stop Board Shop. He's wearing one. So I mean, but anyway, 1 through 20. Give me a number in the chat, and we'll give away a shirt, a Wheel Life Rally shirt. If you're coming, this is gonna be one less thing you're gonna have to buy. Because
And
the
Lord knows Cobra gives away a bunch of shit at this
yeah.
event too.
So
I came home with like 3 Wheel Life Rally shirts after that event. And I ain't-
yeah, we are trying
crap.
to.
I put 5 in the chat, but Electric Unicycle put 5 before me. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Oh, that's all
screwed
right.
up.
You don't count anyway, Colin.
What?
You don't count anyway. So I'm gonna give you guys another couple minutes so we can see some more numbers, and then I'm gonna pop up a spinning wheel and let the wheel pick the numbers for us. And we're gonna do that in a minute. So while people are putting numbers in the chat, Kyle, let's talk about tuning. What do you got on tuning?
So tuning. So with this new update we got, it is very, very interesting. Talking to a handful of people, people have their quirks about it, and trying to figure out and find that fine, perfect tune for just every scenario, all around riding, kind of that mission tune that everybody was used to, or that flow tune that everybody was used to. I will say, I mean, I've been decent at tuning boards, and I feel like I got a good tune in my board right now. And one recommendation I would say to people is to honestly start out on the street and
Okay.
take it one at a time, like change one thing at a time. And what I do, and I'll give you my secret on what I do. So I find a straight street, right? But I find one that has sewer drains, here, there, so that way you go down into something as you're riding. So that way you're changing your elevation and you feel how the board feels under your feet just on the ground. Because what I notice, a lot of people, they'll go to the woods and they'll start tuning their board in the woods, but like you can't really feel what the board is doing under your feet when you're riding over dirt and chunk and this, that, and the third.
Got you.
So I always tell people, I'm like, take it to the street first, change some things, imagine a trail, in the situation you're in. If it's like a decent grade uphill, imagine that it's a trail and start playing with your tuning on that. Find something downhill, find something flat. But like I said, I always find something with a little bit of this in it. So then that way I just ride the edge of the road and ride through that, feel how the board feels as I'm going through these things. Because I know me, and I know a lot of other people I ride with, they want a tune where it's not doing too much under your feet. And that's the issue that I've been having with this new
Mm-hmm.
update is like they gave us so much juice now where it's like but it's doing too much sometimes here and too much there. And uh yeah, I just want felt like I would give my 2 cents because like I said, I get a lot of people asking me questions about tuning. And I figure it'd be good something just to vent out and say, like, start in the street,
That's a
start.
good tip.
and then
That's a good
and then
tip.
from there, honestly, your next best place is find that empty like practice soccer field or football field at your high school or whatever, and go bang around in that and hit hard turns in that and all that rough bumpy. Because just like a trail is constant bump 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 bump, that grass and those dips are the biggest bump 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 bumps you're going to get in comparison to a trail. And so that's where I'll do a lot of my tuning. Like, you want to figure out how your board's going to act over chatter, and like when you're hitting things and it's like that and what it's going to do, find that bumpy grass and hammer it, break as you're going over it. So, like, create those trail scenarios off the
Okay.
trail. So then that way you can really hone in on like what the board is actually doing under your feet. Because when you're on the trail, you're paying attention, trying not to hit trees and shit. At least I am. So it's like for me to pay attention to the
You could
trees and
bounce
whatnot,
off
and
a
then
tree or two. You'd be
I
fine.
I I did that the other day. So the tree
Okay.
won.
So Brian and Colin, I want to get your take on that too, but hang on one second. So everybody in the chat, I see a few numbers. If you're if you haven't guessed a number yet, guess a number real quick, and we're gonna spin the wheel in a second for a Wheel Life Rally shirt. And I'm glad to see there's a few, a couple people that said they're gonna be going that weren't there the last year. So um,
Hell yeah.
yeah, this makes me feel good. I really would. I want everybody there, honestly, because I want everybody to experience it at least once. You know what I
I want
mean?
people there, and I want people to camp out this year too. I want to camp
Yeah,
out. I know me. I'm trying to stay on the
yeah.
property this year. 'Cause
Yo,
last year we had an
camping
Airbnb. I'm
camping
trying
is
to camp out.
the best
Yeah.
thing. If you can come from somewhere and you can camp, you can hang out all night. Then we go to dinner. Just so you guys, if you don't know, on the Friday, the 15th, we're gonna be setting up camp, and then we're done. And I mean, setting up the track and setting up camp and doing everything. Once we get it situated, we're gonna do a ride. We ride down the trail to the Rail Trail Ale House, which is a great place to eat.
That's right.
Yeah, they are so
That's
inviting. They
right.
love us there. The manager, she's like, bring them in. Yeah, she's like, can we take a picture of you guys? So we get our wheels together, and they take a photo of us, and and they're real hospitable. Then we ride back, and then you can hang out for the night. We can have music going. We can, you know. We could throw up a projector and throw up a screen if we really get funky, But it's a fun time. So camping out would be
Or you
nice.
guys can come to my Airbnb in the worst part of everywhere.
Yo,
You
I'm
are not
sorry.
getting that
I ain't
same
doing that again.
Airbnb, dude.
Yo,
Matter of
we
fact, we're
all
gonna
had terrible
ban that
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Last year we all had
I
bad
will never
Airbnb
go back to that
experiences.
Airbnb.
It
It was
was
the worst.
terrible.
My
Chicopee is
Airbnb
special
was
in that regard.
wonderful. It was the RV.
Yeah, Colin was straight. The trailer I rented, which is a good idea. If there's a group of you get together, the trailer I rented was really nice, and you guys can rent one. It sleeps 8, but obviously you don't want to pack 8 people in there. But it was real nice. So that would be a good. I would suggest that to anyone who wants to stay on site. All right, so we got a few numbers, and actually I think I'm gonna hit it now because I think. Oh, Wheelie Brady, what's up, man? Wheelie Brady's in the house. I didn't see him. Love that dude. Stan, what's up, Stan? Stan's in the house. Who else? A couple people jumped in and I missed. Crazy Eye PEV, what's up, man? He guessed the number already. He's ready. He's ready. All right, here we go. We're gonna. Oh, let me put it up so you guys can see. Here we go. Here we go.
You
Spin
need
the
to put 1 through
wheel.
20.
Round and round we go. Where it stops, nobody knows. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Ding
So
ding
to
ding
hit,
ding ding
to
ding
hit
ding ding. Ding.
17, we got 2 17s.
Yeah, one's Brian though.
Mm.
No,
Nah, 1 from
Oh,
Screen Master
4.
Mike.
I didn't see a 4.
Brady.
4. So nope. I love this wheel spin thing.
Did it stop on anybody?
Yep. We're gonna stop again. Here we go. 16. One stop board shop. No, you don't count. So Crazy Eye PEV, the winner. Yes, my man, 16. Crazy Eye PEV. He got 16 after One Stop Board Shop, who's wearing the shirt already.
that's a load of shit. I'm not coming this year, Cobra.
He won fair and square. This is horseshit.
This is
Eye.
horseshit.
Let me write that down. Crazy Eye, PEV. All right, man. So hit me up. Send me a message. Anywhere. IG, Messenger. Anywhere you can. Obviously, you can find me anywhere. Black Cobra is all over. So just send me a message. Let me know it's you. We'll get a size and address, and we'll send you out a Wheel Life Rally jersey. So congratulations to the man with the
Just saying, Rob over here, Rob.
Yeah, and So crazy IPEV. That means you got to make sure you come to the rally this year. You got to rock your jersey at the rally. So that's all I'm saying. So we'll see you when you get here. You gonna do? I don't know. I don't know. Showtime. I got your message, but it was steep for me to do it by myself. So probably not. um. So that was tuning. That's what we were. Brian, what's your take on tuning? What's your thoughts on tuning?
So, I have a bit of a perspective because it depends on the type of board you're on, right? So Kyle's methodology is phenomenal from board to board, right? I mean, because you can do everything he just said from board to board, unless there's no custom shaping. If there's no custom shaping on the board you're on, then you're stuck with a preset. If you're stuck with a preset, mission all day or mission equivalent, because mission is XR based. So if you're on GT, it's flow, or right, think flow.
Flow.
If you're on a pint, it's different depending on which model you're on. But
What are those that
XR
you're talking
mission
about?
as equivalent as
Ride
you can get
modes.
to that is beautiful. But my take on tuning is that it's always adapting. It's I mean, I have a different I have different tunes for, I'll have a tune, I'll be tuning differently for a dirt trail like Wheel Life Rally than I would be for like a chunky, choppy, route based trail like Float Life Fest, right? Because they need two different types of riding. One is very little obstacle and super fast. Another is chunky and choppy, high turns.
Right.
So do I need aggression? Do I need something that's super aggressive, or do I need something that's forgiving, or do I need something that I can really lean into? So it really depends on what kind of terrain you're riding. So I mean, if you're riding the same type of terrain over and over again, stick to your tune, because that shit's gonna be locked in. But if you ride like I don't ride the same type of thing most, I mean, I very even rarely go back to the same trail twice. I mean, I have like one trail by me that I go back to all the time, but besides that, I go to different spots a lot. And even if I go back to the same spot, it's different areas of that spot. If I ride street, if I ride, hilly street or flat street, if I'm riding through the city, if I need speed or if I need, elevation, it really just depends on what you're riding. So, that's my take on tuning.
Okay, so first of all, yeah, you said a lot of words. I had no idea what you meant because I'm on an EUC. So it was
I know what he meant.
yeah, you were speaking
The
Russian to
Onewheel
me,
did.
and I was the
I don't
only
know
like
what
I
you
wasn't
meant.
the only one. Electric Unicycle said it's okay, Cobra. Most of us EUC riders have no idea what they're saying. I'm like, okay, but it's the ride modes. I gotcha.
It's ride modes, and the EUCs have their equivalent, right? Like, I on my S22, I used to, if I wanted to ride something flat, I would change my tilt level, right? So like you can, there's
Right.
different tunings in EUC as well. It's the same concept in Onewheel. It's just what we call it. It's just different things
Yeah.
of what we call it, and
Well-
it's different things of what we need, because we're riding sideways in a stable platform. You guys are riding forwards in in a lot more, not stable
Free
platform.
space.
Well, and also we have suspension, and
Mhm.
there's a bigger, and we have a much better,
One
much
wheels have
bigger.
suspension.
Well, some barely. Oh, you talking about your knees? Because no, I know there's somebody
they
came
got
up.
suspension on them.
I know they came up with
No,
something.
he's talking
but-
about a product. There's a product
Yeah.
called Killguard that makes suspension for Onewheels, and maybe 1% of 1% of people have it. It's not a very,
He ain't
we
lying.
have it.
Literally
It's just not
1% of the
like 9 out
1%.
of every 10 EUCs on the market right now are suspension. One out
Yeah.
of every 1,000 Onewheels have suspension.
and now every EUC basically has suspension, even the little ones. It's like getting so crazy, unless it's a tiny handheld one. Like everyone is getting
Like
suspension.
an M10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous, but it's amazing because then you can ride over. I went back to a non-suspension wheel after riding suspension for years. I almost lost my mind. I was like, oh no. As a matter of fact, as soon as I got back on it, it made me sell my OG Sherman right away because I was like, nope, I ain't riding this no more. because my knees said But I could tell you one thing, big difference, and I know all my EUC riders in here are saying the same thing. We don't have as many changes to make, and what's weird about EUC is I just change the wheel. Like if I'm riding off road, I take an off road wheel that doesn't that is suited better for that. If I'm doing street, I'll take a street wheel that's better suited for that. And we normally don't have as many changes to make. Like I was telling Kyle before you guys jumped on that like my X-Way, it has coil and air suspension. So you have to mess around with it a little to tweak it to get it dialed in where you want. But between those two and then soft or hard, as far as the suspension, there's a gauge that you can make the coil harder or softer. Then the air in the tire, that's it. But once I dial that in, that's it. It's like not on different trails, different dial in. So this is news to me to know that one wheel you can have different tunes for a different trail. I didn't even realize it was that intricate.
You
That's a
and
lot.
you can, but I will say, like I know me, I like to try to find like a tune that I can just rock. Like I don't want to have to tune my board, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to that the way that rides, and I learn how that rides, and I can take that ride to many different trails and be very successful until you get to like race scenario
Mm-hmm.
where you're really trying to push the board and like from one trail to another, berm situations might be different from this to that. So might want a little more roll here versus there. That's where I feel like, and even then, honestly, in many scenarios when I talk about tuning and racing, people are still trying to stick around the same tune. And if
Yeah.
they change some, it's like changing one thing very ever so slightly to change that situation on the trail, that might come up. But for the most part, it's finding that like everybody's looking for that one dialed in tune that they can rock all around. And
Well, it, it's
it's
it.
hard it's hard to find on the new update, to be honest with you.
I think if you can find that one that you can rock with all the time, you'd be happier because it's not as much changing and stuff. But that's just
Well,
me
I will tell
guessing.
you on my vest board, I do. I don't change my vest board does not change ever. But my one wheel one, my future motion board, to Kyle's point, because there's always an update that changes how things ride. And you kind of have to do that. I don't have like there's no updates that change how it rides when you do VESC. So it's
Yeah.
it's also different depending on the board and all that stuff. So
Yeah, because I
Okay.
think best the most that changes your ride is like the power that you're on. Maybe might make things like battery
oh
size
no,
might
it's
react
so
different.
much more.
But
There's
you,
so much more you can change on VESC.
oh, I know there's one you can change, but I'm just saying as far as like when you say the ride change and it doesn't change because of like the lack of updates.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
only
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that really changes from ride to ride is the power in your ride and how it could respond.
Mm. Okay, so you guys are both in Jersey. Shouts out to Jersey.
Hey baby, dirty Jersey, one wheel.
So Sear J says, "What trails would you go to in North Jersey other than 6 Mile?"
Nassau trails, hit Nassau. So once you start getting north of Nassau Seared, it starts to get super duper rocky. What's the name? There's another spot. I'll message you later on and tell you. There's another
Okay.
spot a little further up north. I forget the name of it. It's supposed to have some nice flowy trails, but I've learned as you go north, you got to fight through the hard stuff to get to the good stuff. Is how it
I
starts to
would just
work.
like to clarify that 6 Mile is in Central Jersey, not North.
Well, okay. If you're being nitpicky,
See,
I
now
mean,
if
there
you're
are
like me,
three
if you're like
sections of
me
Jersey,
who
baby.
lives in Trenton, where if you draw a line across and cutting Jersey in half, that line is literally Central Jersey. So anything above me, I consider North Jersey because I'm in
Yeah.
Trenton.
So when you're
I'm
from
literally.
South Jersey, you think everything north of you is North Jersey. It's just not true.
Oh, I know. I went to Rowan, so I dealt with that all my life in college. Everything was North
okay, we're
Jersey.
not gonna have a Jersey battle, all right? So
Kyle and I are.
Green Master Mike says we have hard mode, soft mode, and medium mode. Yeah, that is the ride feel. Um, on an EUC, you like you're talking about the balance of the wheel and how it balances or whatever. That hard, soft, or medium mode is how responsive the wheel is. So for us, if you like the wheel to be flowy and move around a lot, you want soft mode. If you want the wheel to be steady, like me, I want it to be steady.
That'd be
It
me.
only responds in hard mode to what I'm giving it. So if I push, it'll stay there. And that flowy shit, you push on it and it does this, and I'm like, hell no. uh-uh. But
So
we
we
do
need
have,
a lot of that flowy shit. Otherwise, we go bouncing off our boards. If it
yeah.
Yeah,
just
Now,
Tom knows
stays
that.
like perfectly flat
I,
all the time, then you would hit a bump, and on the way back up, it would be like whoosh, sending you
yeah,
up.
yeah. Well, Stan asked, what's the repair curve on a one wheels compared to EUCs?
I
And
feel
Brian,
like
you
I
can
should
answer
take
that
that
one.
one.
You service center man. You got
I,
that.
I, I wasn't gonna suggest it, but maybe I was. Go ahead, Brian.
For our audience that doesn't know me, no, the repair curve is totally different, right? So on the one wheel side of things, it's a little bit more, cut and dry because it's all the same, right? Every GT is going to have the same assembly and disassembly, but the problem is that the hardware software is wholly monopolized by Future Motion. So if you have anything that you can't physically repair without sending it back to the manufacturer, you're kind of screwed, right? That's actually why the VESC revolution has kind of taken on such a heavy role in our community, is because it gives us the option to be able to do whatever we want and repair how we want, whereas EUCs not only are inherently have just so many more moving parts, so many more screws and bolts. And no hate against EUCs, I'm a rider, but the manufacturers of EUCs are much more careless in how they build them. So on a brand new EUC, you could tear it out of the box. There'll be missing bolts. There'll be something bent. That there's so much less QC that goes into EUCs as a whole, with how many new models come out every year, with how many brands there are, et cetera, et cetera. So EUCs inherently are more difficult to repair in terms of what you're doing, but they're easier to repair in terms of getting your hands on parts. So they have two different sides of, they have the pros and cons in how they both can be repaired. And if anyone in the chat has any other questions about that kind of stuff that you want a little bit more information on, then just reach out, through One Stop Workshop channels. I'm happy to answer you. And electric unicycle, on some manufacturers, not all of them. That's my point, though. I mean, you have manufacturers like InMotion who are much more quality centric, versus Bigode, which is racing centric, and things don't come out as Bigode, exactly. So
Right in there.
but my point is that they're because there's no UCC laws that control EUC manufacturing, because they are straight up imported. There is no assembly in the states, so they are only bound by the consumer purchasing that we all do in terms of their quality. They have no laws that bind them. That's my background is also contract law outside of PEV, so yeah.
That was a blurb by Brian Lindy.
Thank you for coming to my TED
if you
Talk.
if you
Talk.
do,
Yeah, I
yes,
was
if you
gonna
don't
say,
know who he is, he's the
educated
owner
like my mother.
of One Stop Board Shop, and he has been dealing with one wheels and EUCs for years. On the
EVs in
so
general, scooters,
yep,
all that.
yep, and dealing with manufacturers and repair and all of that stuff. So Brian has a long history, so he does know what he's talking about. In case you're wondering, because I know many EUC guys might be going, "Who the hell is he?" And what does he know? How come he's talking like? Well, he does have a basis of knowledge, and that's why he's so valuable. So we appreciate you there, Brian. Shouts out to you again. So,
Thanks, guys.
so on that note, though, I will also say, because there is a lot of hate on Bigode, especially because of their history. Now, as a guy who has a shattered shoulder that will never be the same again because of their shoddy production, they sent me the Master Pro, and I got a upgraded battery and an upgraded motor, but they didn't upgrade the motherboard. So it just shut off without warning, threw me down. I shattered my shoulder so bad that it'll never be the same again. If you look at an X-ray, I look like Frankenstein with all the bolts going through my arm. But that being said, Bigode has come a long way. I can tell you right now, the EUCs that they're putting out right now are some of the best built EUCs on the market. And I've taken apart a lot of wheels. And yes, InMotion is still leading because InMotion is more corporate than anybody else. They have a big corporate backing and they do things on a corporate level like no other EUC market. I mean, manufacturer.
Manufacturer.
Yes. But I can tell you this, it is 100% better. And I get that's a lot, I know, but I felt like before they were just slapping together plastic and bolts and hoping and praying it worked. And now I've taken apart like the ET Max is amazing. It is like metal. The whole wheel is practically metal. It's heavy and well built like a tank. The X-Way, amazingly built. So they have gotten much better, but I still will say it's true. They don't have American oversight. They don't have what we have here in the US for laws that make sure that you're governed and you have to build things properly. That's why they can do what they do. But that's why I still ride though, because even with all that craziness, they're still amazing machines. So
Yeah, nothing's taken away from that. It's
yeah,
just, it's just I wish that there was a bit more I wish that they had actual governance
I
in
do
in
too.
in the states rather
I do
than
too.
just the Wild West, because the only
Yeah,
governance they have is our dollars. That's it.
yeah, yeah. And
We
and,
keep
and let's
buying, they're
they're gonna
that's
keep
that's how
building,
it's gonna be. Yep,
and that's
that's
why
it.
they build an
Period.
EUC every week. They come out with a new one every week. Anyway, Wheelie Brady says we also have a tilt angle and stuff like that. Yeah, we do. There's some slight adjustments, just not like the tuning that when Kyle was talking to me about tuning, I was like, damn. Like I was like, that's you gotta tune it like that. I was like, that's a lot. Um, but I get it. It responds differently. Um, I saw
I agree
you.
that we only mostly do it for races, though, where we really, you know, work on our tune. Otherwise, we probably just mostly have a favorite tune that we ride.
Yeah.
Just
That's
Okay.
rock
fair.
out. Yep.
Yeah.
So, um,
And I will say a big difference is the platform too. Like the EUC doesn't have a nose that you got to worry about. So a lot of our
mhm,
tuning specs are based off where you're putting the nose of the board. As you're going through a turn, it needs to lift. So, that's roll. We swing the board, so that's what they call yaw, where
yep.
the EUC, it's, you're leaning forward and back, and you can spin in a 360 if you want to, if you do it wrong, but like,
Oh, hold on a second. Greenmaster Mike says Vest is being used on EUCs now, 84 volt. I think Austin Marhold put one on the Nikola.
Can I
Really?
address that?
Go ahead.
Vesk is not One Wheels. Vesk is a platform
yeah.
made by Ben Vetter and Benjamin Vetter. That's what the Vesk is. Vetter electric speed controller. Vesk has
Uh-huh.
been in the market for over since 2012, 13, something like that. It's not a product, it's an open source software project that he created.
Okay.
Hardware is created to, it's kind of like, Samsung using Android as an operating system.
Mm-hmm.
Hardware is created by certain manufacturers using Vesk as a software to run that. But companies have been using Vesk based hardware and software in their products for years. LaCroix is entirely Vest based. The Stormcore 60D and 100D is entire Vest based. Anyone who's heard of Two Swift is a Vesk. Summerboard is a proprietary Vesk. You can put a Vesk. There's one guy who put a Vesk in his blender, and he has a Vesk based smoothie. I mean, Vesk is just an electronic speed
That's
controller. That's all it
hilarious.
is. It's just it operates motors. That's the entire concept of an ESC. So I mean, so yeah, any PEV device. I mean, if you look at Maker's PEV, the new Black Diamond has Joulette connectors that make it so that it can be used for our stuff, one wheels, EUCs, etc., but also laterally moves into the e-bike market, which uses Joulette connectors as a standard. So, Vest can be used for anything. As long as you use the proper compatibilities and you have the MOSFETs that can handle your output and all that stuff, Vesca's not. We don't own that. We just kind of adopted that and created this this revolution because Future Motion came out with the GT, which made it inherently unrepairable, and the geniuses who do all the programming behind Vesk, like Nico and Surf Dado and all those people, were like, I'm just gonna make my own, and that's how we got to the level that we're at now.
Okay. Well, Jules Ride is in there. What's up, Jules? He says, "What's cheaper to repair, UC or
uh,
One Wheel?"
if you use the word repair versus service, those two different things. Repair I define as something to be fixed. Service is something that you don't need to fix. To service, anything other than in motion is cheaper to service, because in motion we actually charged double or triple for certain things in motion wheels because of how long it takes to disassemble. Anyone here who owns it in motion and has ever done a tire change, you know what I'm talking about. Cheaper to repair, it depends on the model, because there's no way to define, say which one is cheaper, which brand is cheaper. There's certain ones that are more inherently more expensive and have more expensive batteries or what have you, but every single model has different. I've seen controllers for $100 and controllers for $500 on. So it really depends on. Parts are the number one driving factor, because labor is going to be labor. I mean, so parts are the number one driving factor. It really depends on who's got the cheapest parts, and you don't want the cheaper one to repair.
No,
Just
you don't.
putting that out there. If
you
it's
want the
cheaper
better
one to
parts.
repair, get a different one.
So, Electric Unicycle, as usual, has more to say. He's talking about Gotway and Bigot, but then he says it wasn't until they started copying Leaperkim that they got better, which is ironic because of them claiming everyone else copied them. Well, it's not just that they copied them, Dale. It's that Leaperkim came from them. The Leaperkim
They're all
guys
one
worked.
family.
They worked from Gotway. They worked at Gotway, and then their 3 technicians left and formed the Leaperkim. So they were from there, and that's why they said they copied them, because they took some of the ideas they were talking about over and made their own. And then, of course, they tweaked them, changed them, and made them better, because I think Leaperkim makes some of the best EUCs, period. That's just my opinion, because they're close. They have the racing specs, but they also have the safety specs, and they have the better design for the body and stuff. But, yes, Bigot is now making their wheels a lot like that too, but they were all one family, and that they're not just claiming it; it's real. They are all one family. Even Extreme Bull is his brother, and I think one of the guys at Leaperkim might be his cousin. They're really related, and there was falling outs and whatever, but yeah, they're not just saying that; it's real. Um, while we were there, both brothers were there, so I was there in China with both brothers from Bigot and Extreme Bull. So I know they're 100% accurate. Um, so anyway, he said they made them two just working for Bigot at the time. They took those and made it better. Yeah, they did make it do better. Anyway, he says Austin, Greenmaster Mike says Austin's got Vesk on his toaster to regulate the exact temperature. Okay, Vesk toaster. Got it. Better understanding of what Vesk is. I needed that. Thank you. So
I'll drop my blog. I have a blog on what is Vesk. I'll put it in. I'll put it in the
just don't make it as small as Collins, because I can't read that tiny writing. So Kyle, I wanted to ask you, because we talked about ORL, but we haven't talked about the Savage Racing League. So talk to me about the Savage Racing League. How did you come up with it? How did you get it going? And what's the deal with it?
Well, let me relocate real quick.
Okay. You got booted?
Yeah. All right.
It happens.
We're back. Okay, yeah, so the Savage Amateur Racing League. So essentially, when I first got on a one wheel, I go online and I see that there's this thing called One Wheel Underground. And I notice it's people, they're riding and they're setting times on, trails and whatnot. And I'm just like, all right, what are they doing? How are they doing that? So I literally watched every single video that One Wheel Underground had. and tried to figure out like how they were doing the scoring, the timing, yada yada yada. And that was during a time when we were using Strava as a main app to race. Now
Mm-hmm.
we have Ride Hermes. Shout out Ride Hermes for,
Yeah.
hella support to the EV community when it comes to racing.
Yep.
Um, but essentially, I was like, you know what? We need something like that here in Jersey. Like, how can I do it? So I just kind of just tried to figure out a way to make it happen. Um, when it comes, I think in the beginning I set up my own like point scoring system and everything, and like it was all done on paper, like Excel sheets and stuff like that. I would literally have to go into Strava like weekly, record people's times, that they were running on trails and everything. And then once Ride Hermes came out, it made things a lot easier because it's all organized in there. You set up your league. Um, the best part about Ride Hermes is the list of trails that you have that you can pick from. If you want a trail from California to be on your league and in your league, all you got to do is search the name of it up and you can add it and it can be part of the league. So, uh, just made everything very easy and streamlined. Um, but yeah, once my guys started showing interest in it, and they came out, we did season one. And I reached out to Brian, and Brian and I connected because he was at One Stop. I went up to his group ride, and we got to chit chat, and I told him I was like, "Yo, I got an idea on what I want to do." I didn't bother him then, but I bothered him later, and he was just like, "Look," he's like, "Your idea." He's like, "If I could do it, I would." He's like, "But I got the shop to run." I'm just like, "Well, I'm gonna try to do it," and he backed me from day one. So without Brian, I wouldn't have been able to, get it going, and without his support. So shout out to
Let's
Bry
go.
as always. Um, and yeah, like I mean, he's still there for me. Like if I need anything, I know I could reach out to him, and he'd be more than willing to help. Um,
So
but yeah,
how do
that's
you
kind
Right.
of how
choose
it
your
got going.
tracks? How do you choose your
Honest,
tracks, and how many tracks do you include?
so Sorrow, the big thing I always wanted with that is I wanted it to be the riders' league. I wanted it to be something where they chose and kind of created and made the trails. So when I first, brought the idea out, I told people, I'm like, hey, you have trails in your area, let me know. I'll come visit. We'll record, lay a track down so that way you got something local in your area so you can ride it all the time. And in the beginning, that's kind of what I did. I just traveled around different people's areas in Jersey, whatever trails they saw fit to be on it, I would add it on there. And then in the off season, I would call it when, outside of the league time, I would literally just ride around all over New Jersey, and anything that I saw or felt like was a decent trail, I would record a segment on it and, add it to the database. Now it's the same thing. I still try to make it the Riders League. I let them do, create the trails. Shout out to my homie Garrett. Um, this season, it's all him pretty much. It was all the trails that he had selected. He was our rider that was awarded most attempts in last season. That was an award that I decided to give away because in Ride Hermes, it tells you who made the most attempts in the league. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you can get first place in something, but the dedication to riding and being out there and just always hitting it and always at it. This is a man that puts in like 20 miles a day, every day, damn near. Like the man stays in the woods. So uh, I felt obligated, to prize him up and give him something. So with that, he's actually somebody who I'm gonna be working with when it comes to Sorrel and the things that we're trying to establish for next year when it comes to possibly putting on a race here in Jersey. Um, but yeah, he chose the trails, he laid down the segments, just told me the names of them. I pulled it up, put it together, and now we're on to season 5. Uh,
So
so
if you want to be a part of this the of sorrow and you're trying to race, do you have to hit all of the trails in order to win for the season?
if you want to win, you'll probably have to hit them all because the thing is, the demand comes into like the other people who are riding in the league. If you had 5 people who were only hitting every other trail here and there, then like you might be able to get away with it. But when you got groups of people who literally meet up Friday, Saturday, Sunday and might hit, every segment at this park and that park. And then the next day they go to, the next 2 parks. You're going to have to do a little bit of riding. Um, but as the league was established, it was established to be an amateur league. So don't feel, you know, disheartened if you're a newer rider. and you want to come out and race and you want to check out the segments, because the segments are still set up in that same fashion. They're still marked by color when it comes to like beginner, intermediate, advanced trails. I did what I call realive some like old trails and segments in previous seasons, so then that way it did maintain those beginner style segments, because a lot of the newer things that Garrett is creating, he's a hell of a good rider, so like it's going to be more difficult things that might end up
Right.
making the segment list, because that's the stuff he likes to ride. So I had to make sure, to balance things out. I'm like, you know what, we got to keep these few trails open, so that way anybody, there's still some green trails out there to ride. There's still some blues. They're not all black.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, like my
Well,
main thing with the league was just always about balance, always about giving people a place to, you know, exercise the skills of racing. Because if you
well,
don't have
but what?
something like that in your state, you don't have
Yeah.
nowhere to
Well,
ride.
that's what I'm saying. Do I like if you're laying down these are they all in Jersey? Are they like different areas? Because if I'm not there, so obviously I can't participate. I can't win if I don't travel and make sure I'm hitting the trails that you guys picked, right?
Yep. So best part about that is something that I also do is, so there's sorrel, but then there's the out of state bracket of sorrel. So what I did was, is like you're saying, you're not from this state. So when you come here, for you to compete against my guys who are here all the time and riding is unfair. So what I do is I bracket out, and essentially the people who come from out of state, you're competing with each other. Like
Okay.
that, those are your competitors. So if you came from
Gotcha.
Mass, people come from like Seer J, who was in the chat. He's been to Jersey. My homie Dave Galaney, he's from down in Virginia. He's come to Jersey. Um, at the High Life Wheel, Sam Varner, he comes to Jersey. He was first place in out of state. My homie Trees, he comes from Pennsylvania. He was second place for out of state. So I award those people too who come from afar, because I
Okay.
know, like, you're not here and you're not going to have the opportunity to race on our trails the way that all the other guys do. So yeah, I
Okay.
try to find some fairness in there for it,
Yeah.
because
No,
it'd be a
that's fair.
yeah.
Cause I wouldn't think it's fair if I don't live there and I just pop in and I can only ride so many trails and then you guys clobber me. I don't have a shot. There's no way I can win. But if you're doing out of state versus out of state, then I have a chance.
Yep.
So to win something. So
Yep.
thanks, Colin, for clarifying in the chat. And we can see that your ADHD makes it difficult for you to function in the background.
They were talking shit about me, yo.
They were definitely talking shit about you, and you clarified that your office is hot. So okay, thank you very much
My
for that.
computer is burning up. I got the door closed because the kids were being loud, and sweaty.
They said Colin was smoking a bowl or something. They're like, what's Colin doing over there? Picking his nose?
I was messing with my fan. Forgot I had
that
a
was funny.
ceiling fan I could have turned on.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to come to Jersey, but obviously I don't ride a one wheel, so I will come out there and ride the trails with you guys anyway.
You ever come to Jersey? Let me know.
I'm coming. I'm coming because
we'll
I had to
we'll put you
come
on a
ride
good
with
ride.
Brian. So now I gotta come ride with you too. So we'll all get together and do a ride out there in Jersey.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's gonna be awesome. We'll coordinate on that, because one thing about season 5 that I'm excited for is that every single time Kyle like schedules either a ride or hell, the award ceremony, which we're the ones who provides the awards. I can't go because he's always doing it when the store is open. But now that I closed the physical brick and mortar back in January, I can go to that. So
Okay.
I wish you still had the brick and mortar, damn it.
I don't think you wish more than he.
I know.
So
I know.
the landlord issues, it is what it is. But honestly,
Yes.
anyone who's in the one wheel side of things that saw what happened today, I'm glad I don't, because I don't know, man. I don't know what the future of one wheel retailing is going to be.
What happened?
With Craft and Ride, who is the administrators for the One Wheel Owners Group, which is like our EUC.org. That's like our group. They kicked out all the mods and paused the group. So, and shut down their website. They're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me speculate on this a little bit right now.
What?
So they were redirecting to like Future Motion, OneWheel.com before, and I think that what happened was they had a large Shopify payment to make that they didn't make, so their Shopify site was being turned off, and they were like, "Well, that's not going to look good for us. So we need to have our website point at something. What should we point it at? Oh, let's point it at OneWheel.com. That makes sense." So they did that, redirected to OneWheel.com. And they were like, wait a minute, actually, we get a lot of traffic. And if we're going to be redirecting to onewheel.com, I want to actually make some money off of that. So let's undo that and just have it load like a login page. And now some people get that login page. Most people just get like a timeout. Some people get a redirect still. It's because shit's, all across the internet.
So everything Colin just said is speculation. There's no
Yes.
one has gotten proof to the source of it, and everything Colin just said about who gets what. I mean, he can explain propagation better than I can, but that's just because they made several changes and it has not propagated across all of the Shopify servers yet. So, but we don't know what actually happened. All we know is that Craft and Red has been slowly going out of business. I have some
MIA.
inside information that I cannot say on this channel. But as a community, we know that Craft and Ride has been slowly, down, going, not selling things for the last several months.
Not paying
But
their vendors too, which kind of
that's
sucks.
public information. Yep.
Armadillos, wasn't getting paid out, and that's like our tire sealant guy who also does like these amazing pictures at all the One Wheel events, and he was like
Okay.
10K in debt to him, and he's just gonna be fucking fucked over that.
Well, I could tell you that it's sad, um, you know, that business is having trouble. But I don't know. I do see a time that if we don't continue to add people to our numbers, we're gonna continue to have trouble because how many boards can we buy? How many wheels can we buy before it's like, okay, I don't need another one. Oh, we lost Brian. He's back.
Oh, okay. Quick while Brian's not on. So another thing I heard is that there's this person who attended like Stokebird, and they were getting a little too close to one of the Craft and Ride guys, and there was maybe some impropriety going on, and so partially Craft and Ride was owned by like a wife, the Queen of Craft and Ride, and then when the impropriety happened, she decided to take her half of the business and bounce, and so that's
Well,
part of the reason why it's going out of business.
okay, is that accurate or is that conjecture? Is that like
That's what I heard from somebody who,
did you hear from your cousin's uncle's wife's sister, or did you like?
yes,
Or is this
exactly.
accurate?
I'm not naming my sources, but I mean, I get a lot of gossip.
Okay, I see. Said the blind man. So well, whatever the case is, I hate the fact that we don't have businesses doing well in a time when I want us to keep growing. I want One Wheels to be, solid and growing, and I want AUCs to be solid and growing. So, I hate when I see issues happening. That's why I continue to try and teach people because I want more and more people to ride. Kyle, how many people do you think you've taught to ride One Wheels?
God, I can't even count like the random people in the parks that like you're riding. So the hard part, which is actually why once I get my other board built up and it's ready to go, I'm gonna keep no bindings or anything like that, like additions on one of my boards, because
Right.
the issue is I'm always out riding my setup, which has footholds on it and whatnot, and to let somebody
Ah,
new ride the board, that's a little daunting on them. So I want to keep just like a regular board. But back when I used to not have any bindings or anything, like anytime anybody asked me to ride it, like I'll just go for it. And
yeah.
like dozens and dozens of people, I would
Yeah,
say.
it's hard to count. I was recently at the I joined a indoor pickleball club in Westfield, and I was there, and there was a guy who was amazing at pickleball, a young dude. He's like in his 20s, and he's like killing it. I was like, this dude is. So we got into a conversation, and I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then somehow, I don't know, he said YouTube or something. I said, yeah, I make videos and stuff too. He's like, oh yeah, yeah. Well, oh, that's cool. What kind? So I said, well, electric unicycle. So I showed him. He's like, what the hell is that? So then I go out to my car, and I remembered I had the smaller one, the A2, in my car. So I rode back into the place on the A2. He's like, oh, hold on. I got to ride that. Let's go outside. So I took him outside, put him up against the wall. I'm like, here you go. Have at it. He jumped on it. I had to hold his hand, and he's like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. And I'm like, here we go again. Another EUC
Mhm.
strikes. Like, the love of it is crazy. But I want to teach everybody. I want everybody to ride. You know.
So to answer a quick question I'm seeing in the chat, so Green Master Mike. So the way I do it when it comes to the out of state, it's not like each state has their own bracket. It's literally just all out of state. So like Sam comes from Delaware. Um, say somebody comes from Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, wherever. You guys are going against each other. So yeah, if Sam, who's closer in Delaware, comes more than you from Massachusetts and does more, yeah,
Right.
he'll probably win. But I put you guys all in the same pool because you're all kind of living and coming from that same, area of life. You don't live in New Jersey, and you got to get here to race here. So
Right.
yeah, you guys are all just facing one another. It's not literally each state has their own bracket.
Yeah. And I think that's fair. As an out of state guy, I mean, I can't race it in any way. Obviously, I'm on a different device, but I want to come up
Shit,
there and just
I mean,
and just
if I knew people wanted to race EUCs here and they told me, I'd set it up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said.
it's the Savage Amateur Racing League. It's not the Savage One Wheel Amateur Racing League. You know what I mean? So it's meant to be set up for amateurs, period, to give amateurs a platform. So if people ever messaged me and they said like, "Yo, we want to, start racing EUCs there in Jersey," and if they got trails, I would gladly set it up because again, Ride Hermes makes it easy. So I would just
Yeah.
set up the league and it would do its thing, and y'all could have at it.
There's segments in I ride in this in Agawam. There's a dog park that has all these trails behind it, and there's someone was telling me there's segments back there. I was like, what? I didn't know that. So I still have to. I meant to do it last year. I got to learn how to use the app better and jump on those segments and see what kind of times I can get on those segments. But I'll figure that out. I'll figure that out at some point. Yeah, but that's good, man. I see it on your shirt every time you ride, sorrow, and I'm like, all right. I wanted to make sure we got a chance to talk to you about that. So, if we wanted, do they have to reach out to you directly, or can they just jump in? If somebody wanted to be a part of the Savage Amateur Racing League, what would they have to do?
So if you want to race with Sorrow, all you have to do is download the Ride Hermes app, and
Mhm.
you'll set up your profile. And the key thing to do is when you're setting up your profile under your rides, you have to designate that you are riding a one wheel. If you don't
Ah,
do that, it won't show on the leaderboard for the league because in each league you get to choose the vehicle that is being raced in that. So even if you came on an EUC and your profile set up for EUC and you race one of my segments, you won't show on the season leaderboard. You might show on the overall leaderboard just looking
mm,
at the trail, but you don't show up on the season leaderboard. So that's the main thing
gotcha.
you need to do is when you set up your profile, make sure it's got one wheel. And then from there, honestly, all you have to do is go out, hit record before you hit the trail that has a segment on it, ride through the end of the segment. And I always tell people just to end the ride afterwards because sometimes drifting GPS can make the time longer than what it actually was.
Yeah, yeah.
So I tell
That's
people
like
as soon as you,
having a workout on your watch and you forget and you leave and the workout's still running. You're like,
yep,
I didn't burn all that.
and all of a sudden you did 14 miles driving
Right.
home. Uh,
I just did that today. The
but yeah,
pickleballs
once
playing
you
pickleball.
and you kept it running.
Yeah, I'm just about to leave the parking lot. I went, oh shit, and I turned it off. Um, but yeah, somebody said that uh, I keep hearing an echo in the background. I think somebody has another device that's on. like either your secondary screen you're watching or something. I can hear like a feedback loop. It's
Not
faint.
me.
Yeah,
I
I
hear
can't
it
hear
every
it
once in a
now.
while too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Colin, I don't know. You just turned your mic
Did it
off.
stop? Yeah. Did it
It
stop when
might.
I did
I don't
that?
know. Yeah. Does your mic? Maybe
It's
your mic
on
is
right
picking
now.
up. Maybe your mic is picking up your computer speakers or something. I don't know, but you have your headset on, so anyway,
Yeah.
it's not
I don't
doing it
know.
now. Yeah. Showtime was telling me that earlier, and I was like, I don't hear it. Then every now and then I kept hearing it. I'm like, anyway. So
Somebody said Brian's turn to smoke a bowl.
that's exactly why he disappeared. No, Dale said
No,
that
the one wheel gods didn't like I was talking about stuff, so they turned off my internet.
Kicked you out.
Yo, Electric Unicycle said he hates the E20, but a bunch of people learned on that E20. Crazy Eye said no, but the E20 is a gateway drug for them, so let them ride it. The E20 is the little emotion one that has two wheels.
Oh, okay.
It's weird. It's easy to balance on because it has two wheels. So you can
They've been
stand up.
pushing a lot of ads with that.
Yeah,
An
because
incredible amount of ads.
they have. It's easy to jump on, but if you're an EUC rider, it's hard to turn because you have to go from two wheels and put it on one wheel to turn. So it's kind of awkward. So for real riders, it's a nightmare. But for people
It's
who are
like
learning,
the OG Vega on an XR.
maybe.
Yeah. Blocky.
Yeah. The Vega is what, the tire?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's basically like a brick. It's just like shoulder, flat, and then shoulder.
Had no edge whatsoever.
No edge.
Oh man, yeah, that's crazy. And we have some EUCs that come out with that. I forgot the name of the tire, but one of the tires is like that. And you're up until you go to turn, and then whoop, it flops you over. You're like, oh shit, and it's not a good feeling. I like a nice rounded tire that gives me the control, and I can feel it and flow it out. And yeah, tires are a big deal. That's literally where the rubber meets the road. So you don't want to get a shitty tire, that's for sure. So anyway, all right. I just wanted to bring you in, man. I'm glad you took the time to come in. I wanted to talk about the Savage Racing Amateur Racing League. I wanted to talk about ORL, and of course the Wheel Life Rally. I am so excited because I don't know if you guys understand this yet by our conversation, but previously the humble Savage was not going to make it to the Wheel Life Rally. But he has since had a change of events in his life, and he will now be attending the Wheel Life Rally.
Yeah. I gotta come back, man. I gotta support you in the event, man. At this point, I look at it. It's your event, but it's our event. And
Oh,
like the
it's
family
ours
that
for
we're building,
real.
and just coming up there last year, and just like the energy and the vibe, and just everything that is that event. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I could spend thousands of dollars and go out west, or I could take a nice little ride up north and have just as much, if not more, fun. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm gonna be there.
We also need some Jersey representation over there, Kyle. Can't be the only one.
Well, you gotta be. I'm about to say you gonna be there. Turpak. We gonna have Haran. We gonna have his probably
Turpak's
his.
coming?
Is Turpak coming though?
Oh, he better have his ass there. He got to
No.
defend last year's title.
Yeah, but remember, race for the rail. I don't know if he's going.
Oh, he'll be at Wheel Life Rally before he goes to race for the rail.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Just knowing him, like knowing my boy, like he'll be at Wheel Life Rally before.
Okay,
Race for the rail.
so Turpak, I believe you have a title that you need to defend. So I'm hoping that you're gonna be back at the Wheel Life Rally this year. And for those of you in the chat that don't know, Wheel Life Rally was situated and I announced the dates and stuff. And then later on, I got a message telling me that Race for the Rail was now going to be the same day. And I'm like, shit, there was no way I could change it. There's nothing I could do about it.
Yeah.
I already had my date picked, and just out of the blue, that ended up
long before too. That
way
pissed me off.
before.
I'm like, yo,
Months before
they
it. I was
literally
like,
just came
how
in
are
to
you
play
going to?
bully? Because they knew if they dropped an event on whatever fucking date they wanted to, they were
Yep.
gonna get the attendance, and it didn't
Yep.
matter, and that's what they did.
And look, I get it. Real life rally's a small event, and they were probably like, I don't care about that event. We're gonna do, but I'm like, come on,
as
man.
as the creators of a sport, and you could call it like the cornerstone of everything that's being built, you should be more supportive and not
Yes,
so
yes. But
dickish.
they did talk to me. To be fair, they didn't talk to me directly. Somebody else was talking for me and was asking
Yeah,
if they could, is there any way they could change the date because it now conflicts with the rally, and the rally was going to be part of the One Wheel Racing League, so they didn't want it to conflict. Could they? And they're like, well, yeah, well that's the only date that we can do it. So we're gonna stick with that date. And I'm like, I can't change my date. I got my date months ago, and the Wick is so good to us. And he basically opens his calendar to me, and he says, "Here, if you can find an opening and you want it, you can have it." He said, "But there's not a lot of openings." I look at his calendar and I'm like, "Good God, there's a lot of events up there." So I'm like, we can only squeeze in here or here, and then some of it's too late, some of it's too early. So this was the only time that we could really do it. And when I reached out to him and asked, "Hey, is there any way we could change it?" He said, "Honestly, there really isn't. I'm really sorry." And Rick felt bad. He's like, "I cannot." I said, "No, Rick, you gave me this date months ago, so I get it.
yeah.
I don't really want to change it. I was just there's a
In
conflict
frantic
because
mode, yeah, like
yeah, another event picked the date all of a sudden, so there's really nothing I can do about it." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, kid." I'm like, "Damn." So it is what it
There's
is.
not really a whole lot of people in the Northeast that are going out west for wheel life for a race for the rail though that I've heard.
Well,
So
the reason I was saying it is because Turpak, Kyle, Varner,
yeah,
all you guys were the top racers. Like I'm like, if Race for the Rail is happening, I'm like, they're probably going to go there because they can't do both. There's no way. So I'm like, this sucks. I didn't want you guys to have to choose. Basically, is where I was at. I was like, that's not the kind of situation I want to put anybody in. But at the same
mhm.
time, you guys had such great races last year. They were amazing. They were epic races. And I'm like, I want to see that again. And I want to add more epic one wheel racers in there. So I was hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I was really hurt when they told me that there was nothing I could do. You just got to deal with it. And I was like, what? I was,
Me too, because I had to choose. Like that was hard. Like honestly, it was hard for me too. I'm just like, damn. I'm like, I want to go back up there, but at the same
a
time,
lo-
I wanted to do it. But it's like, God works in mysterious ways. He lets you know what you need to do.
you just got to listen.
You just gotta listen. So, I'm just listening.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. So,
well, Unicycle, you kind of answered your own question in your comment.
oh
Just
Lord.
I can't say much more than that, but
You really cared about the community, they would have not.
Look,
Okay, hey,
we we
we're
we
not
we,
gonna
we,
say
we,
anymore.
we can go about
yeah,
this all day.
leaving it at that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're
Yeah,
not gonna say nothing more. So, anyway, I want to say thank you very much, Kyle, for taking the time out to come through.
of
Um,
course.
is there anything else that you want to share with everybody in the chat before we call it a night?
Come to Wheel Life Rally.
I
Honestly,
was hoping you
that's not
went
like
there.
that's it. Like come to Wheel Life Rally. Like I kid you not, man. Like this year is gonna be a standout year. I can feel it mainly because like we know what it is now. You know what I
Yep.
mean? As far as like the one wheelers who went and like the time that we had, the race that we had, and it was like we did that on an impromptu thing. Getting the Airbnb. But like this year now, it's like we're coming with the vibe and the energy to stick around and stay around each other,
Yeah.
because the energy was just there in such a positive way. And I just see it just, the camp outs, the chill outs, the good times, the night rides through the trails and shit like
Yep.
that. Like I just see it, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
it's it's going to be an epic time this year. It's going to be
Yep.
an absolute blast.
Definitely.
And if you want to race, come to the event because it's going to be a day of racing, like legit a day of racing.
You
And
will get your money's worth for racing. Let me tell you that. By the end of the day, if you're not like, oh shit.
and everybody gets to race. That's the difference. Like it's
Yep.
not like many events where like all of a sudden like nobody. Now again, I guess format still has to get worked out with all the
Yep.
RL
Yep.
stuff, but my thinking would be in the same light where like let everybody get their races in. Like even if you're
Yes.
Mhm.
not the top qualifiers, like even the little guys, y'all all
Yep.
get to race one another. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that way, y'all all paid to come to this event and be at this event too. So you get to get your ride miles in and your time in too. So
Yep.
if you want to ride, if you want to get your practice, whatever, come to Wheel Life Rally, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be a time.
That's for
Everyone's
sure.
racing. That's right.
Everyone. So, well, I appreciate that, man. I like the pause, but I said, I hope he says to come to the rally. You said it. I couldn't get a better commercial than that. So, so Brian, before we head out, anything you wanted to add in here, buddy?
Yeah, you bringing back the scooter lady?
Really?
No,
She went out of business. Surprise.
well now I feel bad. No, seriously, what Kyle said it best. I mean, come to Wheel Life Rally. If you haven't been there yet, or you have and you're just like, you know what's there. I mean, there's there's so many events out there, and there's a lot of it can be copy paste, and Wheel Life Rally just it isn't. There's no other event in the EUC or the one wheel space that's anything like Wheel Life Rally. So, if you're on the fence, I know that Collin Cobra and I are a little bit biased, but but if you're on the fence, like let us know what you need us to do to knock you the fuck off the fence, because it's it's you got to come. It's
Yep.
racing, chilling. It's a good time.
Yeah, it really
There's
is.
an underground segment that they put out there too.
Yep.
That's something I actually want to like. I'll probably talk to you about more. I feel like we should do more with that
More.
too,
Yep.
as far as like even having the like the Woods Trail, for instance, be one of
Yep.
the segments. Like while people are practicing, you can
Hmm.
run your times. You know what I mean, and record it, and that counts towards that too. So
That's a good idea right there.
yeah,
Yeah, whatever track that he lays down, lay it down as a segment, and then when you're practice running it, you can get your time in, and then maybe you get a better time while we're racing, because like we talked about earlier,
right,
other people make you ride faster.
yep,
It's just a fact of nature. When you're in a race, you ride faster than you do by yourself. So even if you're laying down a track by yourself, you may be vibing and feeling it, but there's nothing like somebody right up your ass and you're like, oh hell no, you ain't
hmm,
passing me.
yep.
So, all right. Well, Colin, any last words from the bowl smoker? I mean the window opener. I mean the.
Nah, I got my shit in early. That's just like as soon as I jumped on, I was like, all right, here's what we're doing. Bop, 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 bop. All right, I'm done.
Came,
All
took care of
right.
Wham
business.
bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Any last words
Come to
that you
Wheel
want
Life
to throw
Rally.
in there, Colin?
Come to Wheel Life Rally.
There you go. Come
Well,
to Real Life Rally.
let me give one more to the audience. If you
Go
guys
ahead.
have any ideas of things that you want to see at the Wheel Life Rally, no guarantees, but we're always looking to hear
Yep.
like neat things of either race ideas, game ideas, event ideas. If you got something, throw it on our way. It may
Yeah.
not make it. It may be like, holy shit, why are we not doing this? So send them our
EUC
way.
one wheel rally, relay race. You alternate.
Ooh.
One wheels go, they do
Ooh.
pass off the
Somebody
baton to
somebody
EUC.
We
mentioned that
One wheel,
to me
EUC.
before.
Yeah,
we did that 2 years ago. It was fun as hell.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's yeah,
Well,
that's
No, we didn't do it.
we
We
did the
wanted to
relay
do it.
race, and then the one wheelers had to split with EUCers because there wasn't enough of us.
yep.
No, we wanted to do that, but
Yeah.
we didn't.
The main thing I think
So
is exciting about that though is every one wheeler after the first leg of one wheelers has a challenge for them, because once those EUCs tear that track up on that second
yep,
leg,
it's hard for
everybody
you to
like it's a whole new thing. You know what I mean?
yep.
So like the
It's a
fourth
different
leg
track
for
then. Yeah.
if the fourth leg for one wheel is going to have their ride cut out for them.
So that would be one hell of an idea. But just to give people another idea, to know what Wheel Life Rally has for those that haven't been, are thinking of going. Not only do you get to race one, two, three different tracks, but we also do an endurance race where you have to race all three
All
tracks
three.
at one time. You have
Supermoto.
to hit them all. So it really is a unique experience that you cannot get anywhere else. We are not kidding when we tell you that. So I'm gonna put it up behind us one more time. Um,
And if you like to go fast, man,
oh yeah, if you like to go
that's the
fast,
track for you. And like,
wheelliferally.com right here. I'm telling you, go now and grab your tickets, because there are 60. Here's the countdown right here. There's 64 days, 10 hours, and 48 minutes to the Wheel Life Rally. Let's make it happen,
Holy
people.
shit.
Get yourselves there. It is like, 2 months away. Let's go. This is going to be the event. And if you miss it, once again, you'll be another one that's going, damn, I wish I was there. You know how many messages I got? I got a few about, oh, I didn't even see this footage. Oh, wait, I didn't see. Look at that race. Like, people who were there and like, oh shit, there was so much going on that they're like, damn, I forgot about this. Or there's a lot. So you got to make it to the rally. I hope you do. If you are, like he said, on the fence, reach out, because us on the Wheel Life Rally Council, we will gladly give you any kind of information that you want. We are still looking for sponsors to try and help make it so that it doesn't come out of Cobra's pocket. And actually make it not, doesn't even have to really be profitable, just like not hurt as much. So I really would appreciate if everybody would step up, because I want to make this the event of the season, especially in the Northeast. This is the only thing that of
only.
its nature. Like, there's nothing like this. And you have it right here, close enough to drive to. I don't know. People come from Canada to
Canada. I
be
was about to
here.
say.
Every year, Canada represents at the Wheel Life Rally.
They
I
come
already
heavy.
have a Canadian volunteer in her van that wants to come just to volunteer, and she's going to race. And she's a one-wheeler, by the way. So, I mean, from Canada, she reached out. She's like, I'm coming. I'm like, okay,
That's how
come
we
on
do.
down. So if Canada can make it, I don't know why New York, more people from Jersey, like anywhere in New England, like I don't know why everybody is not coming. You guys are crazy. And I know some people in Boston, like Panda, my man, shouts out to Panda, love that brother, but he don't like off-road racing. I mean riding. He's not an off-road rider, and he doesn't like racing. So he doesn't come. And so him and his, the people that are riding with him don't come. And I'm like, come and stay and hang out. It's a vibe. Hang out. And he has come through before and like stop by and stuff. But if you guys all come and support the event, it will be much better for all of us. I guarantee it. But we need the community's full support to make this a real big, huge thing like it can be. So come out, help us out, and help yourself out, because you won't regret it. I guarantee you, you will leave with the same feeling we all leave. Damn, it's over.
And just to be clear, I'm pretty sure Wheel Life Rally is one of three tops, but two events I'm even going to this year. Like I'm only going to Wheel Life Rally and one other. So that's
that's saying something, because
that doesn't
Brian
say
was going
something.
to a lot of events. So that's saying something, Brian. So I hope you guys that are watching this, and also shouts out to everybody in the chat, but hit the like button, share this video to somebody who was not in the chat. Share it out to them so they can see what we're talking about. The Onewheels, the EUCs, Wheel Life Rally, and all that we got going on. So
If you got
I'm
a
gonna
link, if you got a Facebook, post the link on your Facebook.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely share this out. I want people to see what we're talking about and understand that this is the place to be, and you need to be at this event. And it's coming soon. 64 days is not a long time. So that's all I got. All right, we're going to end it on that, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you once again. Shouts out to all of you for coming through and taking your time. I appreciate it. And we will see you guys in the next one. Deuces.
Thank you.
All right.